like, if we nearly weren't on time because we were talking about Beth's beer.
My beer. Should I show it?
Yeah, show
Might
your
as well
beer.
since I brought it up. It's a queer beer. It's a Pride Month
beer.
exclusive beer.
Oh, that's nice. Anyways, welcome to Kiss by Fire, the live stream. Talking all about HOTD, House of the Dragon season 2. We have already had our first comment from the mother of Baggins. Hey to you.
Hello.
You do get to see our faces, although mine is hidden. I'm not wearing my normal headphones. I'm in these big old headphones because I've lost mine. My beautiful headphones. We're going to do at least half an hour just on my love for my headphones and how sad I am that they're gone.
Yes.
Because you can't even really see my
thoughts and prayers that they
earrings.
return, everybody. Thoughts and prayers that they return.
Yeah. Exactly. Pray to the old gods and the new, please, that they come back, because they really were great and they fit my ear. I can't even like describe how it felt to have ones that fit. Anyway, we are here today to discuss House of the Dragon season 2 episode 1, which dropped last Sunday, and also to get you ready for the next episode 2, that is dropping tomorrow. We have lots of exciting things to discuss. We're going to talk about this episode and move along some of our most, rather than doing like we discussed it, we don't want to do like a bite by bite summary, because there's been a lot of content about that already. So we'll go through locations and talk about our most important things that we enjoyed and most important points that we thought of while we were watching episode 1. Don't forget to analyze a little bit. There will be maybe some minor-ish spoilers in places.
Let's just say these live streams are spoilers all.
Yeah, it's quite difficult. Like our normal podcast, which patrons have got the latest one, that is not dropping until, for everyone else, until August, when House of the Dragon is done, but patrons have it, featuring the lovely Sanrixian. It's actually really relevant for dragon stuff, so it's a great one. But normally our normal podcast is spoiler free as much as possible, but this will have spoilers in, because it's really hard to analyze it without spoilers.
We want to talk about all the things for once.
All the things. But don't forget, while you're here, like and subscribe, because that helps get us seen. It helps the content. People can find it where they wish to. And maybe if enough people like, then Beth will take her top off. Is that all right with you? We can discuss that. No? We haven't discussed this yet.
I'll take my glasses off. I'll give you my Superwoman face instead of my
cool.
My card number space.
That's fine. That's fine.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay, fine.
Maybe you can take your top off and I'll take my glasses off.
I'm wearing a shirt with an undershirt. So
she just a little tease there. You see that?
So anyway, the episode it's got new titles.
It has a new opening sequence.
It has a new opening. And there's been quite a bit of analysis about that. I did sit and pause every bit on the tapestry. What do you think? Do you like them?
I didn't really give a shit about it.
LOL.
I didn't. Okay. I was just like, I like consistency with things, and it's nice to see something new and refreshing. Thrones really never altered the entire style of the sequence. They would add places.
That's true. Yeah.
So I was a little bit put off by the mass change, and it sets a precedent. So now I'm like, are they going to do that every season? I guess we'll find out. What did you think?
Yeah, I didn't mind it, because I quite liked the last one with the blood and the stuff. Quite liked it. I didn't love it as much as Game of Thrones opener, because that was just great.
Yeah, it's like there's something iconic about the Thrones.
So but I did think it was cool
I agree, Liz. Liz just said, Mother of Baggins. Sorry.
Mother of Baggins says, I didn't even notice until halfway through. Nice tapestry, but nah. It's just fine. Yeah, I'm going to show that one.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I noticed it right away, but I was like...
I didn't even see it because I was like late coming down the stairs at 2 a.m. to watch it. So I missed that bit. Graham says, I thought the first season was a bit bloody. It was quite bloody. It was all about the blood of the dragon. And I quite liked that because it showed
Valeria. That's why it was so cool.
It was what?
It was Valeria.
Yeah, it was Valeria, and it was the blood of the dragon, and you saw the family lines and stuff, and I quite liked that, but it also went so fast you could barely see the sigils, you could barely work it out. But even the tapestry, in a similar way, it was really fast, but I did have to, like with the Game of Thrones one, you can see all of the places really carefully, and everything's labeled, and you're like, okay, that's Winterfell, and I loved the way it grew out of the map and stuff like that. So Mother of Baggins, the tapestry does what Game of Thrones map did, show who is more in power at any given time. I would like it more. Yeah, it doesn't show that. I did break it down. I did pause it. I'm not sure on 2 of the opening things. Now I've heard different oh, I've got balloons. I don't know how that happened.
Wow. Okay.
How did that happen?
It's a party.
It's a party. Yeah, I've seen analysis of loads of the images, and they're not all, people don't all agree. I was not sure who the first image was. Some people think it's Nissa.
Yeah, I think it might have been Azor.
And I thought it might have been Azor Ahai, Nissa situation, or kind of spoilery to our next episode, how they create dragons and how they bond to dragons, because there was like a dragon and a person and a sword and a something.
So yeah, like a blood magic-y.
Yeah, blood magic situation. And then we think Dany's the dreamer, but who was she holding in her arms?
I didn't break it down the same, so I couldn't really.
So I don't know. And then we get the doom of Valyria, Aegon's conquest, dead Westerosis, the lords taking the knee. We get King's Landing, Maegor the Cruel dying on the throne, Jaehaerys and Alysanne together, the Council of 101 image that we actually get from the show. And then Alicent in her green wedding dress. The dress, sorry, not her wedding dress, but the dress from the wedding episode. Yeah. And then you see Rhaenyra wearing black at the other end of it. Just a very quick shot of Rhaenyra in black. And then you have Aegon on one throne and Rhaenyra on the other one. But it's so fast.
Rhaenyra's was on like the Dragonstone throne.
Oh, was it so Chu, thank you so much, says that this is Aenar holding Dany. So is she having a prophecy of the doom of Valyria at this time, do we think? Maybe. And he's holding her because she's like dreaming and seeing this terrible prophecy at the time. Maybe that could be. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. But the only thing I do agree is it's really fast.
It's too fast. Yeah,
and you can't see. I only see all that because I've paused every single image and gone. Okay,
the only thing that really stood out to me that I like genuinely noticed was that they had the Dragonstone throne with Rhaenyra.
Yes. Yeah, that stood out too. Yeah.
But otherwise, I was kind of like, that was okay. And I think like maybe next week it'll feel different because it's kind of jarring because it's moving so fast. And it's the first time we're seeing it, so we don't have that repetition.
I think we will probably. I think the idea is probably they're like, oh, everyone will notice something different every week, and maybe we will. But we're all nerds who want to watch it all in one go and understand it straight away. So yeah. And it was Heathen King Grant Piercy who helped me find some details on what the analysis was, so that was really
author
useful. Author Grant Piercy, whose books are great, by the way. And then we go to the north, don't we?
We start off in the north,
and that was so exciting.
Such a tease, like a little.
I know. I have feelings. We start with Cregan. Can I just say we start with the Stark theme? We have, it's called Goodbye Brother, which it's a very mournful theme on the cello. I mean, Ramin, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Ramin Djawadi? Yeah. He does such a great music. It honestly is like one of to me, it's like the heart of the show.
It's brilliant. It's really unbeatable. I don't think there's no other show that exactly just the tip, Liz. Just the tip.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like a little nip slip of the North.
It was, and I was really sad that there wasn't very much North. I want more North. There's so much in the books that goes down in the North, and I just felt quite bereft that we, like, from the books, and obviously the point is that we don't. The books are written so you don't know what happens.
Yes.
But I wanted more North. I was so excited, and they built that whole massive set, and we went to the wall, and they did a whole other stuff, and you're like, oh, we're leaving? Oh, what?
Well, I'm sure that they spent the money. They'll reuse it.
But it's just annoying. I wanted more.
Just not right now. Yeah.
But yeah, so we got the Stark theme, which I was just like, oh my God, the callback to the Starks. It felt like being home again, the OG theme. But also we know that Jace is going to find out about his brother being dead, and it's called Goodbye Brother. Mm-hmm. And that's really sad.
And then they sort of juxtapose that, or the intro is that little
but it's the same intro as Game of Thrones when we see the raven flying.
Yes, I meant the sort of intro about the story of the North and how they choose which Stark goes to the Night's Watch. And I didn't love that, but it was sort of like that Game of Fortune where they pick a stone and the black stone takes the black and goes north. And so they're also saying goodbye to a brother.
Yes, exactly.
And then also hello to a brother.
Hello to a new brother.
Yeah.
They got Mother of Baggins again. I love you, Mother of Baggins. Yeah, there was actual media hype as well for the casting and the North. Yeah, they advertised Armin Strong's lines and delivered a Kristen Cole orgasm.
Yes, you know
so
what?
Eloquent.
It is supposed to be like it's a tease, obviously, and I think the actor has gone on record and said that's it for him for this season.
Boo.
But he'll be back, so it's nice. I like the little nods. They talk about the army of older men that Jace secures from the North, and of course they're Northmen, so they're worth double what
they're worth
Southerns are worth. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's already the Winter Wolves, and it just makes me so excited. Roddy the Ruin.
But we get the first words. Duty is sacrifice. And he's talking about this thing that was started when Torrhen Stark, interestingly enough, started a tradition of sending 1/10 of his household, so not like his family, but the household of Winterfell, to the wall at the start of winter. So to me, this is confirmation that the Starks know about Aegon's prophecy, and either know about his prophecy, or there is some prophecy that they have had in their wolfy dreams that, because they know winter is coming, and that winter, and he even says on the wall with Jace, what are you keeping out with the wall? He's like, death. So they know.
I wonder if they knew already.
The North remembers.
They do. I wonder if they knew already. And Aegon's prophecy just sort of like doubled down on the fact that it's not that the others aren't gone.
Yeah, I think so. I think they may have had their own thing. I think the Starks have always had their own thing because they've known about the Long Night, and they've known like death literally marches from the north in winter. And I think Aegon's prophecy is literally the Song of Ice and Fire. It's, it's the fact that the Starks know about this and the dragons know about this. And I think in the toing and froing from Torrhen Stark and Aegon, the Conqueror, they probably were like, wait, you know about this too? Yeah, me too. I knew about this. Yeah. And I think that is hinted at by the guys talking on the wall. I think they're hinting. I'm trying to work out, are they kind of working out? Do you know about this? Because they're like, so Torrhen Stark would not have knelt if he hadn't thought that the realm could be kept together by Aegon. Don't you think?
Wink. I don't know though. I don't think that Jace knows yet. Because
I don't know either.
He's not the actual sworn in heir yet, and so I don't think he knows. I think it was pretty evident because when he said, "What are you keeping out?" and Cregan answered, "Death." Jace was kind of like, "Oh, okay, dude." It wasn't there was no acknowledgement or recognition or.
I don't know. I don't know if they're just holding it back. I think we'll find out soon enough.
I don't know. I don't know how soon. I think part of the point is for later on that all of this gets lost anyway. The tragedy of this getting lost in the realm being totally unprepared. So I kind of think that Jace might learn about it, but I don't think it gets passed through to
To Aegon the Third.
Third.
And there's a wee little possible retcon. Did Aegon the Conqueror and Torrhen Stark, did they treat at the Wall? They said they met here.
I know I was mad about that. I didn't like it.
Did that happen?
No. But again, that's just me being a book snob, so there's going to be a few moments of that in the stream.
There's also the other one about the dragons. So this retcon I didn't care about as much. Like, as in, I was like, I'm fine with it.
This one I think
they
is
made it that
somewhat ambiguous.
Jaehaerys and Alysanne's dragons
did
not wish to go for, and it's one of my favorite bits of the whole of Fire and Blood.
Yeah,
it genuinely gives me goosebumps where Alysanne writes to Jaehaerys and says, no matter what I did, Silverwing would not go north of the Wall. Which I find, so it is a retcon for
thrones.
For thrones, because Daenerys flies north of the Wall. Like, no trouble, she flies north of the Wall. So I think that was Thrones show. I think that was Dan and Dave who made that decision that she was going to go north of the Wall.
Yeah,
because I think we are now it's now like canon. Dragons will not go north of the Wall. There's some really interesting theories. Grey Area has some good ones. Joe Magician, other people, Crowfood's daughter, about that it's because the Whites can't go south of the Wall. And it's maybe because they are like skin changed by White Walkers. And maybe the connection is broken if you try to go near the Wall. That's
been a theory for a long time.
Yeah, that's it's the same with the dragons, like as in the dragons could maybe sense
the break in the connection, because of course we know that Jon can't sense ghosts beyond the Wall.
No, he can't. Yeah,
and his siblings and stuff. So it's possible. I think there's so many different layers to it. I am a moderator in a Facebook group for anyone who actually uses Facebook. Me and some friends.
Facebook?
No, what's that old thing? Me and some friends have like a book only group, and then we also have a show group for HOTD, so it's House of the Dragons True Fans, if you're looking for it. And someone posed a question in there about just the magic and how it all works, and it comes up that obviously we see dragons land in Storm's End, but Mel can't go in and have her shadow baby within the walls of Storm's End.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a magic barrier there that doesn't translate between human and dragons, or different types of magic or whatever. But then I was just saying in that post, like, the Wall has unprecedented magic as well. You have the magic at the Night Fort, which is totally different. The gate at the Night Fort is totally different than any other magic we see in the series.
And Mel births a shadow within the walls of Storm's End.
Yeah, she just has to be in the walls.
But also the White Walkers are referred to in the books as white shadows.
Yeah.
So
maybe they wouldn't be able to walk through Storm's End either. We don't really know.
And shadows are.
But the dragons can, but they can't fly beyond the wall or won't.
No. It's interesting that it's keeping them in and out, like as in it's keeping the White Walkers out one end and keeping something like.
You almost wonder if there's like a pact or something between the two, but at that point the dragons hadn't come to Westeros.
Yeah.
So
and Mel calls the Wall the hinge of the world.
She does.
I always think that's such a weird. I can't picture in my head what she means. It's like
a hinge opens and closes. Yeah, but I think of it like when you see the Night Fort's gate, and just how it's particular about who it lets through. And I think that's sort of what she thinks about the Wall. It's not just everybody can go through or go beyond it.
Yeah. Mother of Baggins says, and the Black Gate is weird, right? So types of magic. I wonder which type is built into the Wall. I mean, do you think we'll ever find out? Because these are questions I'm desperate.
I think we're gonna get. I don't know if George will never explain how the magic works, right? He full on refuses. He doesn't want to have to find this magic. We've talked about this before in our main podcast, but I think maybe we'll see. Maybe try and understand the differences a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I did have a what ify kind of moment, and I was like, what if, right? They decided that this prophecy doesn't have to be just told to one person who might die. Like, what if they were just like, let's tell everybody in Westeros, let's just let everyone know.
Yeah.
And then we can all we can all work towards it. We can all just, what if we all just knew about it? That would be great, wouldn't it? If we all just absolutely knew
Yeah, and then it's sort of everyone's responsibility. But then here's the thing: when everybody knows, you get like divisions and factions and people who don't believe it or whatever. It's like, why should I believe that? And we have that in our.
I know. But world. Even so, I just still feel like the idea of telling one person, is stupid. Again, which is why I fully believe. Tell all of your children. Tell everyone. Tell all your kids, and that's why I fully believe that Septon Barth probably thought that too. And I think he wrote the prophecy down, and I think he wrote it. And
for our other episodes.
I know.
You're giving away the farm, Steph. You're giving away the farm.
I know, but this I'm going to do a Patreon episode on it anyway. But I totally and utterly believe that he wrote it down, and that is what Rhaegar finds in the scrolls. That he finds them. I think it's Septon Barth's writing. That's what I think. When Craig Stark is talking about keeping death out, we get the music again. Is Ramin writes the music, and the music does this thing. If you watch it again, Mother of Baggins is laughing at my pronunciation of Bath, Septon Barth, and. The music does the thing. It sounds like the horns that they blow when danger is coming at the wall.
Yes.
And he does that literally the minute he says, "What else are you keeping out apart from weather and wildlings?" And he's like, "Death." And it goes like that, like the horns.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Strategic. It's very well done.
Awesome. But and then we get the Raven, dark wings, dark words. And in the book,
I wanted to pause for a moment and just have a nod to the lips on the actor who plays Jace.
I was like, how old is he? Because he's quite hot, and is it
holy moly! Like if those are natural, if those aren't injections, I mean, God picks favorites. If there's a God, that's all I'm saying. Like, what is happening? That was amazing.
We've got Septon Barth, hot aubergine or eggplant emoji if you're in other parts of the world. Eggplant.
An aubergine, darling.
I love. Also, can we just get a shout out for the fact that Craig Stark is carrying ice, the beautiful sword of ice.
I actually missed that. Both my watches, I was just totally oblivious to it. Ice, and also I had one other thing to say, and now I've forgotten it. So one of the reasons why I dislike that there wasn't as much of the North, and that is because there's more in the book, and no, we don't know what happens in the book. Yes, that's been established by a lot of people. Like, we actually don't know what happens in the book. Yeah, it's
so saying that didn't happen in the book,
unreliable narrators.
It's totally.
However,
unreliable.
You can't do that because this whole story it comes from a book and it sets a precedence and whatever. And yes, they have liberties to be able to change things as they choose, of course. But this story wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the book. So negating the story or the choices they make and saying, well, the book isn't really real, to me is just kind of like excusing things.
But what annoys me the most is the fact that whether you believe the different stories about what happens there, like the Sarah Snow thing, which I love, and the potential dragons laying a clutch of eggs, love that. But the thing that's missing for me is the fact that they make a pact, and the name of the pact is the Pact of Ice and Fire.
That's the second Pact of Ice and Fire, though.
It's I know, but also that's what they call it, though. They make the Pact of Ice and Fire.
They do.
And
go ahead.
And it's like that's the name of Aegon's prophecy is the Song of Ice and Fire, and I feel like that's like a slam dunk, like that's a home run. Sporting names and words,
yada yada. Yeah,
like why miss that out? Why?
I don't think it's missed, Steph. I think they're just going to loop back around. I think that either Jace is going to come back, or he and Cregan are going to see each other again, and more will unfold.
I do think he's going to come back because, and we'll get to it later, but when he has that scene with his mum talking about the reports of blah blah blah, Craig Stark's only sent 2,000 men, and I don't think that's very many. So I'm wondering if they're leaving it open for him to be able to return and say, "Hey, we need more people," and they can't all just be greybeards.
Exactly.
And that's when they're like, "Let's make the Pact of Ice and Fire."
Yeah, I think it'll be a bigger, more. I think they'll give us more northern stuff. So I think that was just like we said, like a little, just the tip of
just
what
the
we're
tip.
gonna,
a little tease. It's not a tease I enjoyed. It's a tease I enjoyed, and now I want more.
Yes,
You can't
well,
just
that's
give me
the
that.
point. That's the point.
Boo! I am impatient, and I want it now.
Yes.
So we move, though. We're now on Dragonstone, not the north. And we get Maylies, who needs to gorge and rest, which sounds like an amazing Saturday night to me. I'm just going to say that. I need to gorge and rest.
Yes.
So leave me be.
These are my
Baby Billy in the house! Yay! That's so exciting. In his house, if I was going to be really cool.
That's what popped into my brain as well.
Yeah. So we get Maylies and Rainies. And I am like I said, I might just get I need to gorge and rest like tattooed on my bum or something.
You should.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's what our house words should be. That's what the Kiss My Fire house words are now.
We need to gorge and rest.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm really enjoying the squeaky dragon noises.
Queen. I kind of like it even more.
Yeah, exactly. She's the Red Queen. But the squeaky dragon noises, like they make squeaky noises all the time.
Mommy said it's my dinner time.
And it's a bit of a short scene. Damon's impatient. He wants to go to war.
He's
doesn't understand why
Rhaenyra's power as well.
Yeah. He's like, I want to push my power. And Rhaenyra's obviously gone. We don't see that she's gone, but she's obviously gone somewhere. She's away with her grief. And Rhaenys has to explain grief to him and be like, hey, like she's grieving for her child.
I think it goes beyond grief. I think she has to explain motherhood to him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And she points out about Laena, his ex-wife, her dead daughter, and he's like, is that shame he's feeling? Is that shame? I don't know. Probably. His face definitely was like, oh, shit, yeah, I did marry your daughter. Did die.
He's like, oh yeah, that chick, I remember her.
Yeah. And then Rainey says, I pity Aemond if he were to come upon
if she were to find him.
And would Rhaenyra win in a fight
against Vhagar? No. So, I don't think it's hard to say in some ways because Rhaenyra and oh my god, what's her dragon's name? Why am I spacing?
Rhaenyra,
Syrax, have been bonded for a very long time now. And Syrax is not a baby. I mean, it's not the same as what Luke had. So I think that maybe the stealth and speed could give.
But if it was a 1-to-1 combat, if it was Rhaenyra in the back corner,
like just one-on-one without the dragons, no, she wouldn't win. No. She's not.
What if it was no weapons, just claws?
Maybe just sheer rage. I mean, she's pretty hurting. I don't know. I think, I think it's all talk because Aemond would not. He's very capable. Sadly, well, Vhagar is he's very sword capable. But one of the points that often comes up in the book series is like it'll happen. Rhaenyra, and this is a good start to it, is never actually actively doing anything. She's just sort of constantly in mourning. She mourns for Visenya. She mourns for Luke. She's not actually doing anything. She gets so focused on her grief. And eaten alive by it. And this is sort of, I feel like they've done a really good intro to that. There's also the fact that she just flat out is not a warrior. She's just not. Some people just aren't made that way. She's not made that way.
No. She's strong.
She's not. It's like handing Sansa a sword and saying, get in there and fight. It doesn't, she's a strong girl. She's a strong woman. But she's not a fighter. And I think Rhaenyra is sort of similar.
In the season 8. In the long night when Daenerys somehow ends up off her dragon and is surrounded by White Walkers, and I think she gets a sword from somewhere, and she's like, like, why is no one ever?
Yeah,
people need to be like, no one's thought
because she's a queen, she's a woman. She doesn't have to do that. There's so few women who do. That's the point. That's why they stand out.
So. But Daemon throws it in Rhaenys' face. He does a lot of throwing things in people's faces. Why didn't you do blah blah blah? And he does it to Rhaenys.
He does it to Eric later.
He does it to Eric later too. And like, why didn't you just burn them? And I mean, he has a fair point.
No, he doesn't. It was never her war. He doesn't have a fair point. She's
don't
like, I'm not
like
a murderer.
that.
That's why I didn't do it. She doesn't have to justify that.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry,
okay, fine.
Damon.
All right then. Murder is wrong. Fine.
Yeah.
But she throws it in his face that he can't order her to do anything. He's like, let's go kill Vhagar. You have to do it. I command you. And she's like,
you. Yeah. Would that you were the king.
Yeah. Would that you were the king. Oh, fuck you. Yeah. So yeah. And we do get a shot now of Rhaenyra, who is at the penis, looking at the penis tower that is Storm's End. Her grief is palpable. Terrifying.
Yeah,
she's so sad. Yeah,
I don't disagree with Damon. To be honest,
I can't read my own handwriting.
In a lot of ways, I don't disagree with Damon. Like, he just needs action. This has happened. We need to act now, right? So I don't. He's just trying to respond and get her throne back, and to him, this whole search is meaningless. He's like, let's just solve this problem, and she's off doing her thing, and at least they answer where she is and what she's doing. But I didn't find it super fulfilling, I guess. Like, I don't know if it just makes me a cold person, but
I think you're just a cold person.
I understand her wanting to like have closure with her child, but I liked what they did later, like when it all came together and they did the pyre. But in the moment, I was like, "What are you doing?
She's looking for the bones of her baby."
I know, but I was like, he was eaten by a dragon, and then you're not going to find anything. And when they did find something, I was like, oh, okay, like
I don't know. I think you're just really cold-hearted. I think we should all vote. Is Beth cold-hearted? We're not going to get any likes if you say horrible things, Beth. Don't forget, like and subscribe. If we get lots of likes, Beth's going to take her top off.
No, Steph is going to take her top off. Beth will take off her glasses, and I'll be very like Cara Danvers, super girl.
Sure.
Steph's going to give you a little striptease.
Maybe not. I know you don't like it, but I don't mind it. I mean, it slows things down a bit, and I do understand. Damon is like, he's like, I kind of recognize that ADHD impulse. Like, do it now. I have to do this now. I've got this in my brain. It's like when, because I'm like fairly neurospicy, and if I suddenly get an idea that I need to do something, and I'm gonna like, right, now is the time. I've been putting off this really annoying thing for a really long time, like move all the furniture and paint this wall, and I haven't done it. I'm doing it now, and I will be doing it, and it's even if it's midnight and it's annoying everyone, and I just have to do it now. And I think Damon's in that mode of, he's
fixated. But beyond that, Damon's always been a little hungry for that. He's hungry for violence. He's hungry for the throne. He's hungry. He's hungry for power.
He's a dragon, and he knows he's a dragon.
There's
and you see the mirroring of that with Otto and Aegon on the small council there, where they talk about, we needed to take action. We should have done it by now. And people are waiting for other things, and they're like, we need to go. Why are we sitting around?
You also have that like male entitlement stuff that's happening. It happens all the way through this, with Damon being like, let's act. It's now. And it's like, it's for the first time in your life, it's not your place to say that to me, even though I'm you have the conversation later with Allison and Otto, where she kind of has to be like, this is what it's like to be a woman, and this is what you're doing to that.
That to me, when we get to it, is one of the most important scenes, probably the most important scene in the whole thing. Before we get there, though, we go to Driftmark, which we see Corlys, who is still using a walking stick. He's still weak. There's the blockade conversation. They're blockading the gullet, which is a very small area it's an easy place to get to stop a lot. It's an easy place to man, but a really annoying place for anyone who's impacted by it. Obviously, comes up a lot. So it's a big tactic. Eventually the people of King's Landing are going to starve. I do think that's going to be important. We do get that in the War of the Five Kings, and it causes like the bread riots and things like that. And I think that is going to maybe become important because people get annoyed when they're hungry. I don't know if you've ever seen me when I'm hungry. Someone get this woman a Snickers bar. Yeah, exactly. But we meet a guy. There's a fella me lad, talking to Corlys, and we find out his name is Alan. And I'm very excited about Alan.
I know.
And he talks about his brother. I'm going to see my brother. They need to get his ship. I actually was kind of like, I don't really give a shit about boats. Do you know what? I am going to take my top off. I'm getting really hot in here.
Ooh, it's getting spicy.
Getting spicy. Yeah, I don't care about boats. I have no interest in boats, which is pretty bad because my stepfather was in the Navy, so I should care about boats, but I don't care about boats. And it was quite cool, though, to see what it takes to look after a warship, like washing the blood off the...
Yeah, I liked your remark. You did a tweet. I guess that's why Euron paints the decks red.
Paints the decks red to hide all the blood. And they're getting all of the, like chiseling the... barnacles, the blistering barnacles off the side like that. You're like, oh, that's why pirates and ship people talk about barnacles all the time. They damage the boat.
Yep.
And it's not going to be ready for another couple of weeks. Blah blah blah.
And it was. I mean, he was injured. There was a big thing that happened on the boat.
Yeah,
that's the follow-up from
really
last
injured.
season. Yeah.
And then there's a knife that was made for Luke. I did find it very interesting that Alan says, "I was sorry to hear about your heir's death." Not your grandson,
your heir,
like Ned, with the rightful heir. Robert's heir will take the throne, not his son Joffrey.
Yeah, because at this point now,
because basically everyone knows that Luke's wasn't his grandson by blood. It's his heir.
Yeah,
not his grandson.
Yeah, I'm really curious about Alan. I think that I think the show's done something interesting where they have this ability now with that particular character where book readers but now book readers are like, are you gonna do it, or is this gonna be something else? Because he seemed we know that he's a son, but he seemed way older than Laenor to me.
What is he meant to be younger in the book? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, it's meant to imply that Corlys had an affair with again like on with their mother while he was married to Rhaenys, and that they are his children. So they seemed too old to me. Like they didn't
seem that old.
He seemed a lot older.
He definitely seemed like he could be a son, but it doesn't matter what age.
So I only say that, you're right, but I only say that because like Laenor probably would have died or would have been born like early in their marriage, would have been conceived early in their marriage. So if he's like 10 years older than Laenor, maybe they're not going to have the affair have happened. Maybe they'll have it just he had children with this woman in passing, but 2 of them, and he doesn't know about them because he didn't seem to even have any recognition that maybe he was their dad. Like there was not a lot of familiarity between the 2 of them.
I think in the book he doesn't know that that's his.
Oh, he knows. Yeah, he knows. Oh. Yeah, he knows.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Well, we'll see how they get on. Yes, it's one of those bits in the book where I'm like, I can't quite remember how they word it, but
yeah, he knows, and he names him as heir. I mean, he knows.
But I think he accepts that he's his son.
No, he tried to pass them off as Laenor's kids at first, and it's like those boys are, and you can't pass that boy off as Laenor's son, right?
No, not unless
that's
Laenor
what I mean.
Was
that's why I'm like, there's a lot of. I'm like, so now I'm like, are they gonna do that? Is he going to adopt them? Like, what route are they taking here, or does this exist, in a relationship before?
Don't know. We'll find out.
Rhaenys.
Find out.
Yeah.
But he says he saved that, guys. He saved Corlys from. He pulled him out the sea, and the weird bit is where you get it. It was only my duty, and he's kind of like, it was only my duty. It's like shady. It's like, what is this? What's the what? I'm not always good at like reading people, so I'm like, what is that feeling? Are you like,
that's
it was
what I
duty?
mean, where it didn't feel familiar. It's not like he looked at him and was like, well, you're my dad. He was like, not that he would have necessarily done that with his station, but still he was just like, it was my duty. That's what I was supposed to do. Like, you're the lord of this, you were drowning. That's my job. It didn't feel familiar. I'm curious about that relationship. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's good. It's just like a little tidbit, a little tip, a little extra tease for what's going to follow.
Alan and Adam.
We go to King's Landing, where we see Arik and some scorpions. And my only point on this bit was, why the hell, if you have dragons, why would you commission a weapon, the only weapon that can destroy dragons and hurt them? Why would you commission that?
Because they have to.
I know, but I'd just be like, no, I'm not going to commission the one thing that can kill my
I know. You know what gets me though is like, do you not have like a code or a sign you can send to people if it's your dragon and not the other one? Because that was, I mean, they had her armed and ready to shoot Vhagar down.
Well, it could have gone through one of Vhagar's holes in her wings. Though,
it's true. Could have just right
but it cracks me up because in Game of Thrones they reveal the Scorpion as like, this is something Qyburn's invented, and I think
every reader's like, Meraxes.
Yeah, and then, but I just think Qyburn was just like, because Cersei obviously doesn't read her histories.
No,
she doesn't read them. So I reckon Qyburn was like, I've invented it. Wink.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I read about it, and so it's mine.
And so it's mine. I did it. It's mine now. And then so we move to Helena, and this is an interesting scene. The maids, you notice, are very nervous around Aegon when he walks in the room. I don't like him.
He's just an interesting character. I think they're doing an interesting job with him. We'll talk about it more.
I'm actually quite enjoying how they're fleshing him out, and I think the actor playing him is amazing. I'm really enjoying him. What do other people think? Do you think I think he's doing a brilliant
I really like him. I don't think they've done a poor job in casting anybody. So
no. So Aegon is looking for Jaehaerys, can't find him, thinks his daughter is his son for a second. Oh no, that's not the right one. Where's the other one? And he wants Jaehaerys because he's about to go to a small council meeting, and it is practice to bring your heir to meetings.
Supposedly.
It is. It's there.
No, I don't disagree with you. I mean, that's supposedly why he wants his son.
Oh yeah. It's like, but also just really, but also what makes me laugh about that, and I feel
that's what you wanted. You would maybe planned it.
Yeah,
not coming on a whim.
Yeah. But a few other content makers have pointed this out. That grey area in particular, which I made me laugh, is that so it is practice to bring your heir to small council meetings so they can learn Kingcraft. But Aegon was never brought in.
Aegon knows that he's usurped Rhaenyra's throne. He knows very well. The reason that he's done it, however, is because Alicent has convinced him that Rhaenyra will kill him.
Yeah.
So that's why. So it's not like he has any belief that he was ever the heir. He knows what Viserys wanted.
I feel like the small council thing basically highlights exactly the situation. You have Aegon, who was never invited, so he's not the heir.
Yeah.
And you have Rhaenyra, who was there, but she had never had a seat on it. She was always the cupbearer.
She was undermined.
So she's like,
she was womanized.
You kind of want her there, but you're sort of not quite sure about it. And I think that just basically summarizes the exact situation. However, it summarizes it perfectly to me that Aegon was never, ever, ever, at any point, ever thought of as an heir.
Yeah,
ever.
Totally.
Which is why I'm like,
any of the fan base has ever had that in question. I know. Alicent's just like, what do you mean? I love Alicent though. She's like my favorite character. I just adore them both.
But Helena is frightened, not of the dragons, but of the rats. And then she immediately looks at the beds where her babies sleep.
The cradles. Yeah. And she's muttering something under her breath when he walks in. This has been unpacked in a lot of different ways. So like I turned my volume up to 100. And I had my subtitles on.
I had the subtitles on and all it said was whispers. And I turned it up and I was like, I don't know.
But when I turned my volume up to 100, it sounds like he's saying he only wants the heir for himself. Or the throne for himself, or something like that. He only wants something for himself. But apparently, Aziz posted this from History of Westeros, and obviously, if you're listening to us, you already know who History of Westeros is. They need no introduction. There are Spanish subtitles that actually do say some. I'm not going to try and say it in Spanish. I don't have a tongue for languages. It's good for other things. You got languages. And so apparently, it translates to what it says in Spanish. It translates to. Will be the only one who survives the fire.
Whoa, okay.
That seems, I don't know, like I feel like that seems very far reaching. Like what they've done so far from what we've seen with Helena's prophecies or dreams, it have been very immediate with immediate follow-up. So I feel like that might, I don't know, it doesn't feel right somehow.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I'm not sure. Who knows? But it may become more apparent.
May become relevant later. But it's like the beast beneath the boards was like boom, and then the episode later there was the beast. So I feel like that is too far reaching for her dreams. I think it's going to come down to maybe more. I don't know, what I think I heard in English was something like he only wants the heir for himself. So it's essentially he knew what Aegon was walking in the door for. Right?
Interesting. Interesting. And we moved to a something unusual happening. The gripping of a
the gripping. It's very
the gripping. There was a gripping of an arm of a chair, and you're like, "Is that Alison?" I was like, "Is that Alison?" I was like, "What? What's Alison doing? What?" Yeah. Suddenly, we have a sexual relationship, an openly sexual relationship.
Not open.
No, as in they are. It's not implied in any way for people watching. It is. They are definitely doing sex things.
Oh yeah,
for viewers, blatant. It's open to viewers, blatant. And now, this has been quite contentious in the fandom, because, well, I have gone back and forth. I have gone back and forth on how I feel about it, because I felt like it was, in many ways, better that it was implied, or that Alicent essentially kind of used the promise of her, that whole like, I'm pure, but I know you have sexual feelings for me, but this is so pure and beautiful that we would never act like.
We talked about it last season. There was kind of a hug between the two of them, and it was like, good thing I wore my white pants. Like he was like, obviously in there.
In the Green Council episode, like they have like a moment where they look at each other because he's about to go and find Aegon for her, and she sort of looks at him like all demure and goes, "Take all your feelings that you have for me, and please go and find my, for the feelings I know you have for me." And I feel like it's like implied, and I feel like it's better. There's in Andor, totally different universe, Star Wars. There's a character who becomes obsessed with this other woman who's in charge of him. It's a similar kind of, she's in charge and I'm kind of obsessed with her, and she doesn't want anything to do with him. But I don't know. I just feel like there's more power if it's kind of, she's keeping herself pure in his eyes whilst also being sexually suggestive.
I think it's just nice for her to have consent.
But also I understand that both the two times we see the sex things between them, she is on top of him.
She's in
for the first time. She has a powerful. She's not being.
She's a powerful sex life. It's important. Yeah. She's enjoying herself.
However, again, I'm back again, because Kristen Cole would not. He rejected Rhaenyra. He's the actual words, but also he rejected Rhaenyra because I don't want to be your fuckboy. I don't want to be. I want to go off and marry you. Blah blah blah. Because I don't want to be a Kingsguard that you just fuck occasionally. But he's doing that with Alicent.
Yeah, I think we're meant to see the hypocrisy in it, of course. But I also think that maybe it was more that Alicent won't remarry. He's not sharing her in any way. Kristen Cole is not polyamorous.
No.
Monogamy. Boom. So for Kristen, it's like, I don't have to share you with anyone. I don't have to worry about you doing something with someone else, and that feels better for me. It might just be that simple. It also might be that his feelings for Alicent have grown in the last 12 plus 15 years. And his maturity has changed as well since that. I think
I don't know. I just really like the idea of, I feel that you don't have to, the phrase is like tip the pan or whatever it is, where you put your thumb on the scales to be like, they are having. I feel like there's power in Alicent, and it's more interesting to me that she might like imply a sexual feeling towards him, that he would basically be having secret erections about that he doesn't want to tell her because he feels ashamed and dirty because she's so pure. But she's also like leaning over to be like, oh, help me, Kristen, I need to do up my shoe or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But I don't mind it. I also don't mind it, and I don't care, and I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that
I think that it was laid out really well in season 1. I know a lot of people don't. It was not a surprise to me at all that this is where things went. I know.
He's still the dude that cries after sex, showering straight to a confessional. Confess!
But I don't like it. Like I'm a person who's big on like sexual exploration and finding what makes you feel good, if you're not hurting people doing it. So it's hard for me to hate that for Alicent especially.
I don't hate that for Alicent, but I feel like as a storyteller, I feel like it would tell a better story, I think is what I'm saying.
Well, we don't know yet.
Tell a better story that she is leading him on, essentially, with like there's that whole confused feeling of I want you sexually, but it's dirty. I think I just feel like that's where he is with it. What does he say to Aemond in the Green Council? Like, every woman is made in the image of the mother, and they're all amazing and pure, and we must respect them that way. And then there he is with his face in her box, so munching away.
I think I had a point on this, and now it's totally slipped my mind. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think there's a lot to say.
Wants her to get better than Kristen.
Yeah, I know. But I think this is what I was going to say. I think that the showrunners, I mean, when we talk about the book comparisons with the Rhaenyra and Kristen scene, that was, a theory that was put out there by Mushroom, I think, but it was never confirmed, of course, because of the way that the series is written, the book is written. And I think that they had to make Kristen's story make more sense than I just chose this side. So I think his connection to Alicent doubles down on his loyalty to the Greens.
Yeah.
So especially for what's going to maybe happen later and how much he puts into it is because he loves her so much.
By the way, when do you think this started? Because it's only been like a week since Viserys died. So when did it start?
I don't know. I think it started when Viserys. I think this week. Should say.
Oh well, obviously, yeah, but like when?
Like maybe after Aemond 8.
Let's write this fanfic. Who made the first move? Yeah. Who brought it up?
I think the first move was already open. I think Alicent knew that Kristen was totally down DTF.
I think,
and so she was just like, okay.
I think she lifted up her skirt and was like, I'm gonna sit on your face now.
Down boy. Yeah. It reminds me, I was talking to on Twitter, Brando said, do they like each other? Or do you think she's just using him for pleasure?
I don't know.
And I think she likes him. I think she does. I think he wouldn't be in her company for this long if she didn't. And their sort of small talk, their conversation.
I thought that was stilted. It was so British. It was like, the weather is quite bad.
I just felt like they seemed
the weather.
They seemed comfortable to me. And
it's quite chilly today. The weather is quite bad.
He asked her to help with his cloak, right? Which is a sign of familiarity. Hey, can you help me do this up? Like I say to my partner all the time, like, oh, can you do my bra up for me? Like, because I have one that niches in like the
I know. To me, it was awkward. He was like, you're going to have to help me do up my coat because I can't do it.
But here's why I think it comes across as awkward. Because to me, so do you know in shows when there's like an affair happening and something happens with one of the people involved in the affair's wedding rings and the other person has to touch it, hand it to them, and how it's like, this item is taboo. Touching this item.
Yeah, his cloak is taboo. It's his cloak is meant to be like, I will not touch
his cloak. So in Westeros, they cloak the bride as the wedding cloak. So his cloak is he is married to the Kingsguard. His cloak is his wedding ring. His cloak is this is taboo. You literally touching this cloak, you soil it. What we do soils my cloak. I think that's why it was awkward, especially that little exchange. But I also think dressing people comes back and forth with her, and it's kind of like her love language.
I just really genuinely felt like it was awkward afterwards, and it reminded me of British people English people making awkward small talk about the weather. I think winter might be coming. Oh yeah.
You know what else is coming? Winter.
Oh, Mother of Baggins makes a good point. Eris Oakhart vibes when she clicked on his cloak. Yes.
Yeah.
And Ariane Martel.
It's also sorry.
No, I was just I was going to move us to the small council, but
I have one more.
Yeah, go for it.
It's also, as I mentioned already, it talks like it's already been compared a lot, her dressing Rhaenyra in the first episode, and her helping her get ready for when she's sworn in as the heir. And I think it's really interesting when you take that scene with her dressing Rhaenyra to be sworn in as the heir, and then her dressing Cole as, being back in the Kingsguard, and how she undermines both roles. She undermines Rhaenyra as the heir. She undermines Cole's role in the Kingsguard.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I need my cupbearer to bring me some more water. I haven't got any water left.
Oh no.
Is my cupbearer listening?
Maybe they'll get the message.
Please bring me some more water, cupbearer. Please.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, so the weather's bad, blah blah blah. Oh, we have to go to the small council, and they get there.
But on the way,
we see a rat catcher.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important.
Relevant later.
Yeah.
Otto gives them both. I love the fact, it's so funny. I say Otto, and everyone else is like Otto Hightower. I'm Otto Hightower. Otto gives them both super side-eye. Does he know? I mean, I think everyone knows, because it's quite clear that Laris knows.
I don't think Laris knows, but I think he's really mad that she has a secret.
He knows. And I'm like, Otto, because they walk in and Otto's like, he just is like,
where have you been?
Where have you guys been together? And obviously they go together everywhere, but also he's like, he smells like pussy.
Why does your face smell like my daughter?
Oh god. Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my cupbearer. He's coming to.
Whoa, that was magical.
Thank you. Go away now.
Next time we need you to wear your squire's outfit. But
yeah, exactly. Please wear your squire's outfit. He's not shut my door though. Stupid twat.
I love that we're at 57 minutes and
we're like nowhere near the end. Yeah, it's fine. We're good. We get this bit with Tyland and Jaehaerys being silly billies. Silly billios, which was kind of funny, but I was also a bit like, okay, fine.
I thought it was so weird. I was like, what's the purpose of this? Why are you doing
it? It was kind of funny. It did make me laugh.
But obviously,
I was also laughing.
Like Tyland, because he set that up on purpose. But it's like, we have no backstory on this. So I thought it was kind of baloney. I don't know. I didn't like it that much.
He wants
it was cute, but it was kind of bugged me. I think it was kind of to give Jaehaerys screen time.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was like, let's give
him in some way.
Yeah, we need to connect with this child in some way. So let's just do that. But it did make me laugh, because it did make me laugh because it's difficult when you're with friends who have children and the child is being a dick, and you're like, how can I just gently say, child's being really annoying right now. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. With your own kids, you can be like, okay, I have an idea that you can go and do this.
But also, it's not just your mate's kids. You're like, hi, just take the ball and please go away. It's the king's child.
Yeah.
If you do not,
and it's the heir to the throne.
It's the heir to the throne.
The king's child. It's the heir.
It's the king, and you're like, oh shit! I just want to tell you to just fuck off and leave me alone and stop touching my shit. But I can't, because I could have my hand chopped off if I did that. Basically. But I found it really distracting. When they're talking about the war and you've got in the background, uppity downy, blah blah blah. And I was like, I want to listen to them talk about war. Tell me, I found myself listening to what Tyland was doing. But Tyland is a knob. So Mother of Baggins asks, I think we're meant to see the cheekier side of Aegon, sort of played as friendlier dude, bro. Yeah, I think we're seeing many different sides to Aegon today, and he's kind of he's kind of a dick. Because he's like setting up Thailand to like look rubbish in front of everybody.
Yeah. But it only makes him look like an asshole because everyone's like, "But this is an important council. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why
are
you
you
messing
doing
around?" I think it makes the cheekier side of Aegon is correct, but I think it shows an immaturity. I think that's the most important part. He doesn't see the small council as an important part of his day.
Yeah. He's stupid.
You know? Yeah.
Because he never went to the thing.
He has no idea.
He never went to them. Viserys never took him.
This is like arguably one of his first small councils. Right? I'm checking off all over this. Yes.
Baby Billy's the magnanimous.
But that's not even what he says. What does he? He doesn't say magnanimous. He says it wrong. That's what makes it so funny.
Magnanimous.
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 This is wrong. I think.
Like that.
I feel like it stands out to me. Okay, Steph, you take over. I will. I just need a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. So Beth's gonna have a wee comfort break, and you've just got me now. I will talk about the war and the war talk because Otto is we're going to lose all the viewers now because it's just me for a second. Don't go, everybody. Like and subscribe instead. But yeah, Otto is pissed off because Alicent didn't let him just basically go and kill Rhaenyra, which I think is a really dick move. Like, it would have been a terrible thing to do. It would have immediately been awful to do murder. And it's very clear that Otto is mad, Aegon is mad, that essentially they just didn't immediately murder everybody. Alicent says that her letters have gone unanswered, and I think there is some shade, some very big shade. She says, "What about my letters?" And I didn't actually know who that guy was. Does anyone know who that guy was? He spoke up and was like, what, an apology for the death of her son? Who was that guy? I didn't look him up. I should have Googled him, but I didn't. But she says, my letters have gone unanswered. Who is she writing to? Is she writing to Rhaenyra? Anything else? What has she even said? Like, I'm so sorry about your son and how my son murdered him. But it seems later on when she talks to Otto after this meeting, it's kind of like it was fair. It was quite fair. That because of what what Luke did, it's kind of just fair, really, that he killed him because he was really angry that Luke cut his eye out. So yeah, those letters, I would love to see them. I wonder if she's looking over them later on as well when she's in her office, or I think Otto's office. I'm not sure. But basically, the main war talk is that it all has to be in the Riverlands. Everything in A Song of Ice and Fire seems to center on the Riverlands. It's like it's the key to the country, which I find really interesting. Most of the wars seem to converge there. It's in the Riverlands where the very first Pact of Ice and Fire is made on the God's Eye. The Riverlands, I don't know. The Riverlands seems to be a really important place, and I do wonder if it's going to be the Riverlands later on in A Song of Ice and Fire when we get Winds of Winter and A Dew of Spring. Whether that's going to be where big wars happen in the end. I think that maybe the White Walkers may even get that far south, and it's probably going to end near the God's Eye somewhere. But that's what I think. But yeah, they think they need to take the Riverlands. It's the key to the country, and they need to go and take Harrenhal. Aemond doesn't have a seat at the council, but he's there anyway discussing the Riverlands. He has been asked into it. I'll just tell Beth. We're talking about the Riverlands, Beth, because they want to take the Riverlands. And I was just saying the Riverlands are really important in A Song of Ice and Fire. Every war seems to center around that space. Yeah.
There's a lot of houses there, right? And so
lots of houses there.
The strength of those
it's very fertile.
Are pivotal. Yeah.
But I feel, so this is a slight criticism of it. So Aemond walks in and starts talking about the Riverlands as well and how he's going to fly up there and they're going to make Lord Tully, who the hell's that? Lord Tully bend the knee. I feel like we haven't seen enough of Aemond being like, I'm I wanted to see him tell them that I killed Luke. I want to see more of Alicent being like, what the hell did you do? You just don't see
just giving him
it.
the cold shoulder instead. She's trying like, to undermine him.
Also, I was asking, I just mentioned Alicent's letters. Mm-hmm. The guy, who's the guy opposite? I couldn't remember. I didn't know who he was. Who says, oh, you know what, about an apology for her dead son?
For her dead son, I know.
That kind of goes unanswered.
My thing with the letters was like, are they even being sent? Are they being answered because Rhaenyra's just ignoring them, or are they being unanswered because Rhaenyra's not there? She's looking for her baby, right? So she's not even present to answer the letters anyway. It's one of those things where, you assume the worst of something. It's like, and not that I think Rhaenyra would behave not properly, but like well, if she got the letters and would be like, oh yeah. I see that she's so sorry that my son was eaten by her son. What do you say? What are even in those letters? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry about your kid.
My son murdered your son.
But I think I get the impression. Well, yeah, I get the impression that she's kind of okay about it, and I get that more when she meets with Otto later. That she's kind of like, it was fair enough, really. He was mad because.
I mean, when we think back to season 1, when she was like an eye for an eye. I think that
an eye for an eye is not the same as murder your son.
No,
it is not the same. So
I think all of it from there, like she's like, I know that this has to be won with blood, but it has to be done like essentially like purposefully, not just wanton, right?
So the phrase, so I wrote it for later when she meets with Otto later, but I think it's really important. The phrase is, and it's a biblical phrase, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and it essentially means the retribution must be equal.
Yeah.
Not greater than, not less than, it needs to be equal. But we end up with an eye for an eye, and actually they are the first ones who take a son for an eye. So it is not equal. It is not like, you did this to me. And Otto says in that scene, I'm jumping ahead, but Otto says, oh, it's the caprice of youth. They excuse Aemond killing Luke and Arax because of basically moods. Young people have moods and they're kind of funny. But Luke is not excused from the fight and taking Aemon's eye, even though they were younger.
Oh, was that a callback? It was a little bit of like they were roughhousing. They were children, boys. Like, I do think it comes up often. They're children, often.
I know, but they use that as like, Aemon did kill him, but that's what kids do, isn't it? They accidentally kill each other. Like,
sure.
But they wouldn't apply the same thing to Luke.
I know.
In a fight. Well,
just like this episode is meant to lay out the hypocrisy.
But this is how it ends up being the title of the thing. So you have an eye for an eye, but then it becomes a son for an eye, and it escalates as a son for a son.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of this episode, is that it just will continue escalating. And the next thing is going to be, we're going to kill you for this and you for this, until it's
it becomes completely unjustifiable, right?
Yeah.
That's the point. A son for an eye?
No, it's not.
Or your life for my eye is not.
But I can't believe that Alicent, I just cannot believe that Alicent, as a mother and Rhaenyra's ex-friend, like, how can she be so cold about this? Like, she does light a candle.
I don't think she's. Yeah, I was going to say, it's not begrudgingly, though. It's hesitantly, and I think there's a big difference between those two words. She doesn't do it because she feels obligated to. No one's watching her and forcing her to show this sympathy for her friend and their family. She does it because I think she's actually, and Aemon says it later too. She's punishing me for what I did. She's not okay with that happening. She knows what it's done to Rhaenyra. She knows what it would do to her. The difference is, and it's a really big difference that's laid out exceptionally in this particular episode, is the difference in the way these two women, the relationships between these two women and their children, is really, really different.
It is different.
And Rhaenyra is almost painted as like the more loving, affectionate mother always, compared to Alicent, who's disconnected from her children. And
I just think she spends a lot of time trying to excuse Aemond to other people and to herself.
I don't think she does. I think, and Aemond says it.
But we'll get onto it. We will get onto it later on, and I will.
But even in the small council, she's dismissing Aemon. She's not supporting him. So she's not excusing what he's done because she doesn't want him to have a say. She's not pleased with him.
Yeah. I know, but I think it's complicated. And that's one of the things I like about the show is it is complicated. I think she is angry with him because he started a war.
Yeah.
But I also think she thinks it's kind of vaguely justified.
I don't know about justified. I think inevitable.
Yeah.
Is maybe how I view how she sees it.
But we jump to Laris, the clubfoot, who is like, I wanted to see you earlier, and your handmaid said you were indisposed because Kristen Cole had his face in your lady garden.
Near Nether, yeah.
Yeah. I think he knows. I think he's basically saying, because he then is like, I questioned everybody. So obviously they would have said. He would have tortured them and got the information out. So I think he knows.
I think they're two different conversations. I think we have to look at, he questioned everybody. Let's just like reel back in. He questioned everybody to figure out who betrayed her and let everyone know about King Viserion's death. So we know that her old handmaiden is dead because she's the one who lit the candles and told Mazaria and So that was an important callback. So she needs a household that can be trusted.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the reason she sends them all away later for her bath is because she doesn't want Lares to know all of her secrets or anything.
Exactly. I totally agree.
I don't think he knows.
I think
he just knows she's keeping something from him and he hates it.
But in the same scene as like she said you were indisposed, and then he's like, and I've questioned all of your maids. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like either he doesn't know, or he's trying to imply that he knows, and even if he doesn't know, and he's like, I know everything. Basically, he's like, whether he knows or not, he's trying to say, I will find out.
I will find out. It's only a matter of time. That was the impression I got.
I have put everyone around you will tell me everything about what you're doing, including while you're in the bath, they're going to tell me what your feet are like. And, he's not a breast man exactly, is he? But no, that totally gives her the ick, which I completely understand. You have to excuse me moving these, like squishing my head. I don't normally have these on.
And then she wants to like scrub it off. She's like,
she's like, ugh. And it's giving me Cersei vibes after her walk of shame. And then we're back to Storm's End with these little short vignettes with Rhaenyra. And the small folk have found a dragon's wing. And they pull it in and they shit themselves because she flies in and they're like, dragon shit! Like, they must
not actual dragon shit, just dragon shit.
No, dragons, comma, shit. Yeah. They must be, like, it must be so weird. Like, they must be used to dragons in a way. They know they're around. But if you haven't really seen one, if you see one flying at you,
jarring.
You're like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah. It's like we know that bears exist, but when you see one, you're like, oh, a bear.
Yeah. Oh shit, a bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Emma's acting, their acting is amazing.
Yes.
The grief.
It is exceptional that there was one line spoken.
Yes.
In that entire episode by Emma.
The story is about this person and they have one line.
Yeah.
But their acting is just incredible. I cried. I've watched that 3 times and each time I've been like, okay. But then
cold-hearted because I'm like, the only scene that I got like choked up in was later with when she hugs her.
Yeah. I cry at everything though, to be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's because you've got your cold-blooded sang-froid, as they would say in France, and here as well. And then we're back to King's Landing. I can't remember who coined this term. But they called them, it was someone on Twitter, and it's really annoying me that I can't remember, but it was someone on Twitter who called them the Aegoons.
Yes. I saw someone call them like bros.
Yeah, they are like his bros, but his Aegoons. They call him the Magnanimous, and he's going to hold, what do they call it? An audience.
Maybe he says Magnanimous.
Magnanimous.
I feel like he says it's something wrong. Like it's like he's trying to say magnanimous, but he misses. I don't know. Maybe I misheard it.
Magnanimous.
Yeah.
And he's trying. The thing is, right? Okay, so they are fleshing out his character. He's not just like a bad baddie. He's trying to be a good king, and he's kind of like naive and stupid. Like, yeah, sure, you can have your sheep back. You know, yeah, cool. We'll sort this out. And I think that Otto should not do what he's doing. He's walking up. His body language, I'm walking up the stairs. I've got my back to the small folk. I'm going to correct you loudly in front of them. Yeah. They should have a better system where maybe he can stand kind of behind him near his ear and just whisper and go, I don't think that's a very good idea. This whole, I'm going to walk up the steps and basically chastise you. It's like Tywin and Joffrey go to bed. The king is tired. He needs to go to bed.
They have a similar relationship. It's their grandpa on their matriarchal side. I think it's kind of supposed to be a comparison to that. The difference, of course, is Aegon has a dragon and Joffrey doesn't. Can you imagine if Joffrey had a dragon?
Oh my god! No thanks.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. But I think that he's really undermining Aegon and embarrassing him by doing it that way. They need to not have that system. It's really bad. He needs to be more discreet because the king will need advice and he doesn't know what he's doing and he's young and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but it's not just that he's young; it's that he wasn't taught to do this. So
he wasn't taught.
It's like he doesn't know how to connect the dots.
He was too busy.
He doesn't see
jerking off outside his window.
Yeah.
Spreading
his seed all over the small folk in more ways than one.
Exactly.
But he doesn't see that this farmer or this
sheep
farmer, sheep man, whatever is here.
Shepherd. I was like sheep man. Doesn't sound right.
He's here because you guys took his sheep. He doesn't see why.
Is that the shepherd though? Is that like there was an interview? Ryan Condal did an interview with History of Westeros before this season dropped, and he said that the small folk are going to become important, and he was kind of cagey about the shepherd. Is this guy the shepherd?
I didn't watch the episode.
Well, no, it's fine. But as in, I'm asking you, and other people, do we think that this guy who's come in
maybe
to say because he's literally a shepherd who's been told, no, we're going to take a tenth of your sheep.
Yeah, this might be the last time we see him for sure.
And Ryan Condal did say that the small folk are going to be important in this series. So
they are through the story. So
they are, but as in, I think they're going to play a part. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. My note on this is that he's like trying to be likable to the people, but he's so naive about it, and he doesn't know how to connect the dots and understand it all. And he reminds me of Edmure Tully.
Oh yeah,
he does. Catelyn says, "Who are all these folk?" And it's like all these people within the walls of Riverrun. My people, they were afraid. He's just trying to do what this guy's here. He's asked me first. Can we just give him his back? It's like, well, this is what he needs. So Catelyn's thoughts: only my sweet brother would crowd all these useless mouths into a castle that might soon be under siege. This is sort of the same idea. It's like, okay, but we took a sheep because we need them. Like, you can't have them here because you can't feed them. Like, it's a very similar naivety that's happening between the two characters.
Yeah.
But I think Aegon's rapist.
But Aegon is a rapist as well. So it's like, oh, God. Mother of Baggins also points out too, does this guy, the sheep man, have both his hands? If we see him lose one and then raise up as the shepherd, well, exactly. Maybe he becomes the shepherd.
Yeah, it would make a lot of thematical sense.
Because we are being introduced to some people who are going to come up later. We have Regan Stark, who's going to come later. We've had Alan and mention of his brother Adam. And then we get Hugh the Hammer, who's next.
And that was weird. Was it weird to you? This placement with Hugh?
Not really. I did feel like, okay, you're clearly introducing a number of characters. I get it. But I did think it was funny when he's like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll just pay the Smiths in advance, not the band, the Smiths, the actual blacksmiths. Because if you pay them in advance, then they could just give your weapons to anyone. They don't have to give them to you.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to come up later. But
also, Otto was about to walk up the steps and be like, no.
Yeah,
but he obviously didn't.
But also, it makes sense. They have to buy the material to make the weapon. They need the money in advance. They don't just have the materials to make the weapon. So that is a situation where it's like, okay, this might need to happen this way. But Aegon doesn't know why it matters. Otto does, but Aegon doesn't. That's why Otto backed around, because Otto was like, yeah, this one kind of makes sense. However, Hugh doesn't show up in Team Green. He shows up in Team Black and then swaps to Team Green.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's stills for next episode that show Hugh with maybe his wife or family or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're sort of setting up a bit more depth for the flip-flopping of Hugh's character.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the fandom has painted him as just the world's biggest asshole. So
yes. Yeah.
Him and someone else. Yeah.
We see in the background of this scene the statue of Viserys being built, which I didn't notice till the third time I was watching it, because I only noticed it later.
Yeah,
but you see it is at the back of here. And it's massive. And also, when did they start building it? Like, literally, it's been like a week since he died. When did they start building this humongous thing? And where are they going to put it? Like, where is it going to go?
I think it's there to. I think Otto probably commissioned it. That's my guess. To prove Aegon's validity. Look, Viserys is here. He's on his shoulder. He's Viserys' son.
Because it's a very Winterfelly thing to do.
It is a very Winterfelly thing.
A statue of a king. Yeah. So, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Larys and Aegon having a chat. And Larys is trying to sow discord between Aegon and Otto. And he's like, these people are trying to do you down and blah, 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 blah. So that's going to play out interestingly.
That's interesting. Well. It's already there. It already existed in season 1.
Yeah.
This is part of the chase. Was Alicent wanted to get her son before Otto got him to do this or that. So it's
I think Larys is working not for her in this. I think he's got his own schemes. He's not fully on Alicent's side.
Totally, I agree.
But I think he thinks that something's going on between her and Kristen.
But I think he's more on Alicent's side than Otto's.
Yes, but he's also much, much more on Larys's side.
But remember, the very first conversation that he had with Alicent was when her father was dismissed. And he said he was a great man. He should be back here as hand. And now he's here undermining him.
Was that their first conversation? I thought the first one was when he had the flower.
You're right. With everybody. No, it was before that.
He was like, look at the flower. It's
that's that conversation that was right after Otto was dismissed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I'm glad you remember stuff like that. But then we have the most important scene in the whole of the show. And this is Alicent and Otto, who are talking about their wants. They both want victory.
It's a good little check-in. Do we want the same things?
We want the same
It's a good relationship conversation.
It is.
Where do we both want this to go?
Yeah. Where do you see us in 5 years?
Yeah. Exactly.
Dad, let's not forget this is for father and daughter.
But it is important. Like it is. It's an important check-in that they do here. Yeah.
Are we aiming for the same thing here? Yes. Like, victory. What does victory look like to you? Rhaenyra bending the knee, and Aegon on the throne, as Viserys wanted, apparently. And this is when they talk about Aemond. And this is when Otto mentions that it was the caprice of youth, and that it's just, young people.
That's the thing. Those words come out of Otto's mouth more than Alicent. Like, I do think that Alicent struggles with what has happened. I think that's evident.
She says in that scene, he was angry, like, as in she's excusing it, going, he was angry, because of the eye.
Because I think she has to tell herself that.
Luke, and she says, because Lucerys was never punished. So, and it's like, but that doesn't make it okay, Alicent.
No, but I think that's her thing. She used to tell herself that to make her son not a monster.
But essentially, from this, because they've turned it into a son for a son, because they've had a son for an eye and a son for a son now, I think they are the one who caused what happens next. It is her raising of her children. I don't want to blame it all on Alicent because it's not true, but it is the way that they've raised Aemond. It is the way that they're deeply embedded with the faith, and yet there's no forgiveness. They haven't moved on. They haven't encouraged Aemond to move on. It's so vitriolic and retributional and all about revenge and not justice. To me, they've held on to this for so long, and holding on to it, and not like Aemond was a boy, and they couldn't have worst nannies ever. Like, they should have been trying to talk him through, like, we can't do anything about it. We're not going to take his eye, and we all need to move on now. And instead, something in him has been fostered. Like, Otto later talks about how you need to control your impulses because your brother can't do it. And he says that to Aemond. And why have they not said this earlier? You need to control your impulses. We need to just be calm about this. We can't go taking eyes out. This was a fight. Shit happens. Let's move on. This shit here, this attitude is what causes shit like Blood and Cheese. The fact that they cannot move on. Alicent obviously can't move on. Aemond can't move on. They can't just say
Daemon can't. Rhaenyra can't. None of them can. That's the point. That's what causes Blood and Cheese. I mean, Rhaenyra comes out and says, "I want Aemond."
I know, but she doesn't say, "Let's go kill a child."
No. And I don't think Alicent would have either. I don't think Alicent would have said, "Let's kill Luke if you see him in Storm's End." It's just what happened. And I think that, so Otto says, "It's just this, it's just that." And she says, "I hope so." I can't remember Otto's exact word. And she says, "Let's hope so." So she's concerned that Aemond is becoming a monster. And she's terrified. She's very disconnected from her children.
Shouldn't marry a sister. It's weird. It's so weird to me that the Hightowers are like, yeah, cool, because they're embedded in the faith again, and they're like, yeah, cool, let's marry.
Well, the doctrine of exceptionalism is.
I know, but they're still the Hightowers. They could be like, yeah, we're not Targaryens, so we're not going to do that.
No, but they're also Hightowers. They're not. It's Hightowers and Targaryens, so they're exempt now.
True.
It's only a problem when it's not you.
Yeah.
You know, when it's not your blood, then it's like, oh, we have to fight this. But now that they, they are Hightower and Targaryen blood, it's fine. Marry each other. Stay pure.
The other part of this scene, which I think is really important, is Alicent is saying to Otto, "Stop undermining me in small council meetings. I want them to hear my voice and respect my voice." And she's fighting for it to be important. However, according to them, women have no say in the rule in Westeros. And she's fighting to be heard and important in the ruling of Westeros. They're literally fighting a war to stop a woman from being on the throne. And yet she's like, no, I need my voice to be heard. It's important that I as Dowager Queen, am heard.
There's so much in this. Again, it's that hypocrisy. Push and pull in this episode.
Yeah.
I said my comment on it when I was watching the episode is like, she explains what it's like to be a woman in council to her father, but by doing that, by showing him that he has a voice that can undercut her own voice, she gives him a power that he didn't realize he had.
Yeah, he didn't.
There's a really dangerous lesson she just taught him. Yeah, because she told him that his voice is stronger than hers. If you keep undermining me, they will listen to you over me. He's like, sweet.
Yeah,
put that in your pocket.
But then they get super plotty together.
They do.
They get very plotty, and she's like, "We just have to wait this out. Aegon's gonna get bored of ruling, and then we can rule." And this is like super Cersei Tywin. We will be in charge. You know, they've got essentially Aegon is like Tommen or something. We can stick him on the throne. He's going to be really bored. He's going to
Viserys. He's he's not going to be around. It's okay. He'll get bored.
Yeah. But Viserys did do ruling. He wasn't perfect, but he did do what he needed to do. Whereas Aegon is good. They're like, he's going to be bored soon. It will bore him. He won't want to be at the council meetings. He won't want to be. Essentially, he'll be like Robert, who won't turn up. He'll want to hunt and fuck, and that's about it. And they can just basically rule without him and essentially make the Hightowers the rulers of Westeros, which again, it's like the Lannisters are. It may be the Baratheon name, although Tommen is no Baratheon. It may be the Baratheon name on the throne, but it's the Lannisters who want to rule, and it's the same here. The Hightowers, like, it'll be a Targaryen in name, but you as Otto Hightower, me as Alicent Hightower, we will be, and that's treason. In a way, it's like we can just rule without the king. It's not true treason, but it is. They are essentially plotting to make sure that it's them who rules, not Aegon.
Yeah, I mean, treason. I mean, goes down in history as the common thing. Everyone reaching for power that's not theirs. Both common happen.
But I do think that is like the most important scene in the whole show. We get
interesting.
I just feel like you get to see. I don't know.
I think what's so interesting about that whole scene and is so tragic is Alicent talks about her own voice and the importance of her voice, and how Otto can undermine her voice. And she's a woman and she's obviously used to this. And obviously you and I talk a lot about, patriarchy, matriarchy, all these things that sort of are commonplace in Westeros. This entire conversation loops around Aegon and Aemond, and there is no mention, not one, of Helena.
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Oh shit. No one mentions the queen.
Yep.
You know when Blood and Cheese,
which is hilarious
scene,
because
Cheese is like, who's that?
Relevance comes from being the queen.
Yeah. And when Cheese is like, they're like, Blood's like, who's that? It's like, it's the queen. I was like, oh yeah, Helena's the queen. I totally forgot that. Oh yeah,
she is.
Anyway, we then move to the sea. We're at the sea, and Lady Mysaria is found
just outside of Dragonstone.
Just outside of Dragonstone. She's on a ship. Her accent has chilled out a bit. Have you noticed it's not quite as strong as it was?
Yeah, I imagine she had more time to practice and hone what she wanted to sound like for the character.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me the first season.
No.
Well,
I just found it slightly distracting, but nothing more than that. But she basically, I think this is a silly scene. She just denies being part of Aegon's crowning. And when she literally said to Otto, don't forget that it was me who put him on the throne. I could have killed him, and it's me who's put him here. So don't forget who did this. She's like, it wasn't me. I was just profiting from it.
I know, but she's she has to play both sides. It's interesting to me, this scene, because it just both Otto and Daemon questioning her and doing what they do comes down to their entitlement. They have no idea what it's like to be a small folk literally fighting for your life.
Yeah. Oh god, they've got no idea. And she does point out, she's like, this is games of High Lords and I'm common born.
They were going to find him either way. It just so happened that I had him. So I could profit off the fact that they were finding him. Otherwise, he would have been in a gutter and someone else could have grabbed him.
But that's when Daemon is like, and then goes out and then blames Eric. Now he's blamed Rhaenys. Now he's at Eric.
He blamed.
Like,
he blamed Mysaria. Now he's blaming Eric.
Yeah, like you should have done whatever. You should have killed them when they were in your power. Like blaming everybody. Just get. What are you doing? It was when I was watching the scene again, and I was like, so Eric's there, and then I was looking up who else. Thanks, baby Billy.
Thanks, baby Billy. Say hi to that. Kiss that cute baby boy for us.
Yeah, kiss that baby boy for us, please. But yeah, Eric's there, and I was like, there are 2 other Kingsguard who have defected over to Rhaenyra. So she has 3 of the original Kingsguard, and
does she?
Yes, she has somebody Marbrand, Stefan something rather, and Eric Cargill. She's got 3 of them, so there's 4 left in King's Landing, and I think that's relevant to what a lot of people say.
Good.
The baby's kissed by fire, not real fire. Okay, don't do that.
Let's not. I can go off into a Greek mythology thing, but I'll try not to because we're on a time crunch. But if he was actually kissed by fire by a goddess, then it would be good luck, not bad luck.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, but I think that becomes relevant. A lot of people complain, like, where are the Kingsguard? And maybe there's still only 4 Kingsguard. Just remember that in King's Landing, there's not a full pelt of Kingsguard people over in King's Landing right now. But Eric's like, gets blamed by Daemon, and he's like, so I swore my oaths at 18, and what do you do? I have to protect the royal family. What do you do when the royal family
this is so much more complicated than the way you're making this out, buddy. It's not. That's the point.
Yeah, but it reminds me of Jaime Lannister, who with Catelyn is like, so many vows, they make you swear and swear, defend the king, obey the king, keep his secrets, do his bidding, your life for his, but obey your father, love your sister, protect the innocent, defend the weak, respect the gods, obey the laws. It's too much. No matter what you do, you're forsaking one vow or the other.
What do you do when they contradict each other?
Yeah, because that's what happened with Aerys. Because you have to obey the king, but protect your father. And Aerys is like, bring me the head of your father.
Yeah.
How is he supposed to... What's he supposed to do? And Eric makes a very good point. Like, what do the Kingsguard do if the royal family decide to fight each other? Have you got a little blankie there? Have you got a blanket?
I do, because it's very cold in my basement. So I have my little arms in a blanket.
Little blanket. I'm very warm, which is why I've removed.
Oh God, it's like you guys don't. Air conditioning is not as.
We do not have air conditioning.
It's massive. I mean, you have to have it here, and it was like.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's freezing in my basement, so yes, I have.
But we immediately hear a dragony, and we know that Rhaenyra is back. I really liked the underground scenes at Dragonstone, seeing a bit more of where the dragons land and go into all the caves. I really liked that a lot. It was cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like it reminded me of like ancient Greek and Roman ruins and stuff. But she's back. Her hair. Who has been styling her while she's been out? Because her hair's a mess. Like, seriously.
I think that's the point.
I know. It's like, Rhaenyra, put a brush through it, okay?
She got bigger things, bigger fish to fry.
Bigger things. And Damon comes up to her and he's like, did you find what you were looking for? She's like, yes, I did. And I still haven't found. She does. And they were all like, I am going to go up to Harrenhal. And they're like, we are positioning ourselves in the gullet as a blockade.
Yeah, they're all like, okay, you are here. We are ready for war.
And I
think they're trying to show that they haven't wasted any time. They're working.
No, they're working.
She's like, I don't give a shit what you're doing. I need Aemond.
I want Aemond Targaryen. That's the only 4 words that Rhaenyra says in the whole episode.
This entire episode. Do you know what's funny? Until someone pointed that out, I had no idea.
No, I didn't notice.
Because her acting their acting was so strong. So I say her because she's playing.
Because it's Rhaenyra. I know, it's quite complicated.
So to me, it's like, okay, well, she, because Rhaenyra is so she, but I know that Emma is they. So I just want to apologize for that.
Yeah.
But Emma's acting is so strong that I didn't even notice that there were only 4 words spoken.
I know.
Yeah, it's exceptional.
I want Aemond Targaryen. And that's it. And I wonder if they showed her the bits in season 8 when Daddy's supposed to be going mad after Missandei dies, because it gives me the vibes of that, of how she is. I hated that storyline.
Or showed them they watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like that storyline, but I wonder if they made Emma or said Emma.
Or just maybe Emma had watched it initially.
Maybe Emma had already watched it. Maybe they had,
You're right. The comparisons they're good.
There was just a lot of. I had just super vibes.
I don't get madness though.
No, I didn't get madness from Daenerys either.
No, but I mean, there's that moment where Daenerys like snaps, but Rhaenyra goes, flies down on these small folk that have found her son's remains and the dragon's remains and doesn't burn them or anything.
No, exactly. That's because it would be stupid, and that's why the end of season 8 is stupid anyway. But I didn't get Daenerys madness from Daenerys anyway. She was just grieving. But it was the bit on Dragonstone where she's grieving and sad and she's clearly not eaten for like a week. But anyway, it's when she says, I want again. Well, when I say she, again, I'm talking about Rhaenyra, not Emma. Emma is they. But when Rhaenyra says, if I ever say she, I'm talking about Rhaenyra. If I say they, I'm talking about Emma. So it's when Rhaenyra says, I want Aemond Targaryen. Daemon's like, strokes his beard. I can do something about this.
Let me just dip into my closet and find my
his bad boy cloak.
Yeah.
My special cloak that I only wear when I'm doing naughty things.
Yes. Yeah. That no one can recognize me in because I never wear it.
I just no one recognizes me. But Rhaenys wears a similar cloak when she's secretly leaving the Red Keep as well. They clearly have like a secret Targaryen cloak.
Yeah.
I need my cupbearer again because my water's empty. So
I know. I could use a cupbearer as well, but I think mine's having dinner.
Okay. Cupbearers. But then we've got Jace is back. Rhaenyra's had a shower. She's brushed her teeth. She's had her hair done. That's nice. Jace is back. He can barely speak. It is really sad.
He does a good job. He talks about the things that he accomplished, though. That's important. His role is important. He's taking
he needs to
seriously.
give a report. Yeah.
He's like being the heir first and giving the report before he's being a brother, right?
And a son. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see the veil. We didn't see the veil.
Yeah, they skipped the veil.
Skipped the veil. And there's, again, we mentioned it earlier, but there's only 2,000 men coming from the north, and I don't think that's very many. And
I can't remember now what it is in the book.
I can't remember. But I do wonder if it's like they're leaving room for him to go back and say, hey, can we have some more? I want more men. Give me more men. We want it to rain men. And that's when we get the baby Billy. Yeah. Someone get Beth a Moscow Mule right now.
Yes. I could go for one. I almost actually I love also an old fashioned.
I love an old fashioned.
And I almost asked for one before the stream, but my partner / bartender was making very fancy dinner tonight, like following a recipe to the T, and I didn't want to like stress.
Okay.
So I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, we get to the cross thingy funeral pyre / Allison lighting candles. Here comes my cupbearer. Thanks.
Oh, there you go.
And so Allison's lighting candles in the sept. The Targaryens are doing their Targaryen burning of stuff. Obviously, there's no body, and it's just really sad. Joffrey and Jace just made me super, super sad. Again, I'm going to ask: is it inappropriate for me to find Jace attractive? Is he like too young?
How old is this actor? How old is the actor? I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the lips on that actor are like, holy moly. Yeah. And I'm not like super attracted to people that often. Like I'm like my demisexuality is like maybe they're cute. I can't really tell. And then this guy, I'm like, he just has like I work in the beauty industry, and so to me, I think his lips are injected. I don't think they're.
Do real. You? Well, we'll find out. I'll do some research.
Yeah, I know. I need to see childhood photos of this person.
Jace's lips. Google that. Yeah. But I got annoyed at Allison. I was like, light that candle, bitch! Say his name!
Say his name.
Say his name.
She does. I think she just
does.
I think she's again ashamed. It comes down to that exactly. It's that taboo. Yeah. Is it my place to do this? She's sort of constantly in that place, right?
Yeah. But they all need therapy. They all need therapy. If they all just sat down, although I like it's like the Simpsons episode where they have family therapy, they all like electrocute each other. That would probably just end up happening. And the therapist's like, I quit, you're all horrible. You're the worst family I've ever worked with.
It's like my fear of going to therapy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
But they just need to like talk. But anyway, we're back with Daemon in his bad boy cloak, and his plan is just so silly.
So just for the record, I'm going to pause you for a second.
Right.
Roderick Dustin, Lord of Barrowtown, aka Roddy the Ruin, led 2,000 grizzled graybeards south, and they were the Winter Wolves. So 2,000 is correct.
Ah, bum. So that means we're not going to get.
Well, who knows? Who knows? But that is the correct number.
It's 20 years old is the actor, so it's okay.
Right. It's legal.
Only 19 years difference. Boo. He's not going to be interested in old me. Because obviously it's likely that I'll meet him. Yeah, exactly. It's highly
adorable him. Yeah.
So yeah, if we ever met, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm nearly 20 years.
I just need a kiss. I just need to feel those lips on my body somewhere.
I don't care about his lips. It's the cheekbones. It's the cheekbones for me. It's
for me, it's his lips. I'm like, whoa, holy, what's happening?
But no one is as hot as Rhaenys. I'm sorry. I have a massive thing for Eve Best and Rhaenys.
Well, I'm like, for me, it's I'm like, a basic bitch who's 100% Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy. Oh my god, both of them.
I don't know. Rhaenys has something. Rhaenys
is stunning and beautiful, and she has these incredibly warm, stunning eyes that just take my breath away. But it's definitely Olivia Cook, Emma Darcy.
Okay. But anyway, I'm on Daemon's silly plan. Can we talk about Daemon's really silly plan? It's like, okay, I'm going to get Aemond, and I'm going to get two random guys, and I'm going to tell them that they need to.
The whole process of this is he makes Mysaria feel like she has to do right by him first. So right, and so in exchange for your freedom, you need to give me something.
I know, but then he finds like a King's Guard. It looks like, or someone. In the book,
City Watch.
King's. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, City Watch. Yeah, that's what I meant.
We skipped over Aemond and Cole's conversation. Do we want to loop back to that, or?
No, that's next. We just see
right.
him.
Yes, sorry.
This is where he talks to Cheese and Blood for the first time, and Cheese says, "I know Megor's tunnels better than I know my own cock.
Fuck the high towers.
Fuck the high towers." But I know it better than the shape of my own cock is actually mushrooms.
It
words.
is mushroom. Yeah, I saw Girls Gone Canon tweet that. So.
Oh, that's nice. And they're like, "Yeah, we can find Daemon and we'll fight him." And I'm like, those two. So obviously we don't know from the book whether that was the original plan. So this is show saying the plan was they're going to go in and they're going to find Daemon and they're going to fight and kill him. And I'm like, these two, Aemond, who is a trained fighter who has been taught by a master of arms, like you're going to send a rat catcher and just like a kind of big guy fighter, like he would just slice their faces off within seconds. Like, what is this? And also, if they fight it, they like. I really feel like, I know he's like, I know Megor's tunnels better than I know the shape of my own cock. Like I just feel like, Daemon, take 5 minutes to just
do it yourself. Do it yourself. Water, you can fight Aemond. You know you could fight Aemond.
Yeah.
Walk in and do it yourself.
Uh-huh.
Because if anybody could actually kill Aemond, it's you. But I don't know if he knows that yet. I don't know if he knows.
Oh, he knows
the skill of Aemond yet.
He knows. But honestly, I'm like, stupid, just ridiculous. And then, okay, so then they have the bit, what do we do if we can't find him? And we don't hear what he says. Fades to black. So you're like, okay, so obviously he said something. And that's what happens. They don't find Aemond. Surprise, surprise.
But it's more like, do we keep looking or do we just take what we found?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know what it was said. What does Daemon say at that point?
Yeah.
We just don't know. Well, we find out later that he was like, a son for a son. We need a head. Those are things that we do know. Yeah, bring a head. Bring me the head of Mavis Davis. And that's when we cut to Kristen Cole and Aemond.
And their little...
There's a weird vibe between them, I think, a little bit. There's like a vibe. And I wonder if Aemond knows or thinks something's going on between Kristen and his mother. He refers to her as Alicent, not my mother.
Yeah, he's very different than last season where he was kind of like the doting son.
Mm-hmm.
And now with her cold shoulder, he's sort of like turned on her. Because he helps her find Aegon.
There's so many weird factions though within the Greens. So you've got Alicent with Cole. You've got Aemond, who's also scheming with Cole. You've got Otto and Alicent. You've got Otto just on his own. You've got Otto and Larys. You've got Larys and Alicent. You've got Larys on his own. And then you've got Aegon kind of like, hey guys, just in the middle, who doesn't know what's going on.
He's just doing his own thing.
Maybe doing a thing with Larys, perhaps. Like, they're not exactly a unified unit.
No.
If that makes sense.
So I don't think the Blacks are either. I think you have,
but it's much more evident to me in this episode. Maybe because we spend more time with the Greens.
Yeah, we'll spend more time with them. But yes, in this episode, it was very like what Daemon is doing versus what Rhaenyra is doing.
But interestingly to me, Aemond pretty much talks about his mother as though she's a usurper. Yeah. He's like, she's usurped Viserys's throne. Yeah. And then he says something that I'm like, am I being dumb? But I don't get it. Her grace speaks with two tongues.
I know.
What does that mean?
I was like, what? So he doesn't trust his mom. I think what he's trying to say is like, well, I'm her son, and so she loves me and she's supporting her children, but also she's ignoring me and not supporting me and undermining me, and she's pissed off at me. Could be more than that. Could definitely be more than that. And he says, what does he say? Where is it? I have it written down on here somewhere. She speaks with two tongues, and he also refers to her as a fool who holds love for the enemy.
Yes, yeah, I know.
So she speaks with two tongues because she still loves Rhaenyra.
I wondered if it's like a two-faced thing. Or he's referring to she speaks with her own tongue and also the tongue that Kristen has inside of her.
Inside her legs? But he was literally talking to Kristen, so I feel like that would have been pretty bold.
I know, but they did like kind of look at him. She speaks with two tongues. And I thought...
Hers and yours?
Yeah. Hers and yours. And that's when Kristen repeats his whole thing about Rhaenyra being a cunning spider.
Get over yourself, my God.
Yeah. And then Otto comes and sends Kristen off, go do your duty, go to your post. And only Kristen stands when Otto walks in, which reminds you that he is lower. He may be talking with Aemond like they are, you know, bosom buddies working together. But Otto walks in the door. Kristen has to get on his feet because he is actually a servant.
Orgasms. I will never stop trolling him, mother.
Yeah, never. And please never stop.
Come on.
Never want you to stop.
Let's just let Allison use his hot D for all of her needs.
No,
he's giving her something she needs.
He'll cry while he's coming home.
You know what? He can cry when she leaves the room, but let her have.
But he will cry during. He'll cry during. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm coming.
He saves the crying for when she leaves. Oh my God, she's never gonna love me.
No, he's in the middle. He's crying in the middle. Tears.
Poor Allison. Just let her have some good sex.
I would love to, but I don't think she's gonna get it from Kristen Cole. Just don't think he's gonna get it.
I need to anxiety apply my lip gloss.
It's not the same, and I think the point, they are actually, we see later, Alicent is now in Rhaenyra's bedroom doing with Kristen later on what Rhaenyra had been doing with Kristen.
Everyone's got a history, yeah.
And definitely, I think Rhaenyra and Kristen had way more fun than Alicent will be having. So that's my thought.
I don't think so. I think it's I don't think that the scene between Rhaenyra and Kristen was rape or non-consensual or anything. I think Scad has a point where he brings up that maybe there's a consent problem and stuff like that. And I think that Kristen is hyper aware of a power dynamic. I think he likes a dominant woman and he likes to serve.
Yeah.
So I don't think
he also thinks that every woman is made in the form. He's got like a Madonna whore situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But Otto tells Kristen to get out, go and get to your post, and tells Aemond to stop plotting without his brother. And points out that he and Vhagar are the single greatest power in the realm.
Let's just feed Aemond's ego. That's just what he needs.
Just a little bit. Aemond's like, yeah, I am.
I fucking know, bitches.
Yeah. But he's like, you also need to control your impulses because your brother can't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because Aemond can't control any impulses. He ate somebody a minute ago.
Wait. What?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not the way Kristen did, a different way.
But yeah, and so that's when we cut. So this is where we get to basically the climax, as it were, the denouement of the show, where we get back to Blood and Cheese, and they're off. There's a dog. The dog.
Why is the dog even there?
Because the dog helps catch the rats.
But
he'll be like, ah.
But they bring him in just to kick him and then send him on his way.
Because they're not actually catching rats, but that's not actually what they're doing.
I don't understand why the dog is here at all.
Because they're gonna keep their, although it's a stupid thing, they've got to, we've got to take the dog because we take him with me, so it looks like I'm actually
laughing at other
yeah. Exactly.
Don't be mean to Allison. Come on. Why do you guys not want her to get an orgasm?
Yeah. I do. We all do. Yeah, it's like a disguise, but it's a terrible one because the dog is most likely to bark and give them away. So terrible idea to have the dog. But anyway, so I like this because they're going into the castle the same way that Arya Stark came out of the castle through the drains. We've seen this before in Game of Thrones when Arya Stark is walking through the Red Keep and ends up in the Maegor's little tunnels, and she comes out through the sewage pipe, and they're going in the sewage. They're going in that way.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. That was cool. And they walk in on Aegon, messing around with his goons. How the fuck is he sitting on that throne like that and not cutting himself to shreds? It is the most dangerous chair. And he's plot
armor.
Sitting there. Yeah, okay, sure. And they're just debating the meaning of magnanimous. Do you know what magnanimous means? Does anyone know? Do you know what it means?
I didn't look it up.
Well, it's magnanimous. It's when, like, if you're magnanimous in victory, it means you're like forgiving of like nice and generous to the person who who lost to you, to the less powerful person. So he's the magnanimous because he's going to be generous and kind to Rhaenyra. That's the implication. So they're like, she's going to lose in battle, and you will be magnanimous about it.
Viserys was magnanimous with Rhaenys in actuality.
Yeah, exactly. So he was the magnanimous one. But yeah, it cracks me up. And they decided maybe the name should be the Dragon Cock. So
I know, it's funny. It is very bros hanging out.
Yeah. Mother of Baggins, like, you would raise your fallen enemies back to lordship after battle. Some people do. Tywin does that. Oh yeah, Aaron, Baby Billy's like a good winner, a good sport. Yeah, you know, someone who shakes the loser's hand is like, yeah, like they did good too. That is not Aegon, though.
No. Especially not knowing where this goes.
But he's right. He is a dragon cock, an unstoppable beast, because he's a rapist. He's horrible.
Well, yeah, and I mean, ultimately, what happens with this story? He never really stops. He constantly is trying to tear down everything that the Blacks have.
Yeah. And then, so we're back to Blood and Cheese. They're walking through the throne room, and it just starts to unravel from this point. When I was watching this, they're like, he gets them to like the bit underneath where the royal family sleep.
We're not allowed up there. You're not allowed in here trying to murder somebody either. But that was the stupidest stuff. It reminded me of the chase in this. We talked about this recently, you and I. The chase episode from season 1, and how it's just sort of like, I understand that it was trying to build tension, I think, but it was just stupid.
Well, I think Blood is like, duh. He's like, yeah. He's like, I can't go up there. I'm not allowed. It cracks me up because it's a bit like upstairs, downstairs situation in lordship. In the old British class system, like certain people would be allowed upstairs and other people wouldn't be. So if you were like a scullery maid or something, you would not be allowed upstairs. Or if you were one of the cooks, there'd be no reason for you to be upstairs. So you would not be allowed. Yeah. But if you're a housemaid, you're allowed upstairs. You've got a reason to be there. And it just cracks me up. It's like, I'm not allowed up there. You're like, but you're literally here to murder someone. You need to go up there, you stupid idiot.
The point is that you're not allowed to murder the prince either, but you have to.
You're not allowed to do any of this. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. And then
you're not on shift right now. You're not supposed to be in there at all. Yeah.
The dog.
No.
But obviously, Aemond. They go to Aemond's room. He's not there. They take his coins. There's rain and there's thunder, and it's like, oh, this is not good. This is bad. They're just basically blindly searching. They like don't know where they're going, and they're just blindly walking around. There's no guards. This has been one of the criticisms: is there's no guards. Blood sees a maid who I'm referring to as Eyebrows because she has the most amazing. She's like, who's that artist? The Mexican artist.
Oh no. Frida
Kahlo. She's got Frida Kahlo kind of situation.
Yeah, but like, Frida had like unibrow.
It was a unibrow, but it is like, wow, you've got eyebrows. Yeah. And she's like, okay. He's like, it's for the rats. And she's like, right, okay, cool.
Yeah, and then she disappears. She's there, and then she's gone. And he rolls the torch across the floor, and I'm like, why did you do that for?
Why did you do that? Go and get your torch. Like, anyway, he takes his sword.
Weird.
And he storms in.
The problem with stuff like that is it takes me out of the scene.
Yeah. I was just like, pick up your torch, man. But Cheese has Helena. Who's that? She's the queen. And this clearly Daemon has said in that bit where we cut away, he said like it's a son. They said we want a son, we need a son for a son. So that's
I think did you not say it earlier too? I think is what he said to Rhaenys in the very first scene with them.
He has in the very first scene he says a son for a son, but he wants Aemond.
Yeah, so, of course.
Yeah.
But he's already uttered the line. It's already out there.
He's uttered the line. So is that their interpretation of a son for a son? Or is he specifically said, just get any son? Why not go for Aegon then? Why not go for the king? I just...
Yeah, well, the king was surrounded by his bros, so he wasn't as approachable.
Yeah, that's true.
Mind you, Aegon would have been easier to take out with his bros than Aemond would be without
really
anybody.
drunk. Yeah, no, they were all really drunk. So
even if they weren't, like Aemond is the power fighter.
And this is where we get the bit, and they are like, "We're gonna take the boy son, the heir."
Yeah,
and it's different from the book, and a lot of people are really upset. I know you've said on Twitter you didn't really like the changes.
Yeah, I'll talk more about why.
I didn't love them at first, but I also don't mind them. Like, it's different because it's a show, and we actually don't know what happened in the books. I've seen someone say, is what we hear and read about in the books actually Hightower propaganda afterwards, and saying, oh, they change up Alicent and blah, 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 blah. And actually that's because it's written by maesters who love the Greens, love the Hightowers. Is that just it may come up in the next episode that they'll be like, oh no, they tried why was the Queen not able to be there? Because she was tied up by them. Are they going to make up a story about what happened to cover themselves for what really happened? Because obviously Alicent was in this show having sex with Christian.
Yeah, and in the book it notes that Helena brought the children to her mother's room every morning.
I know, but so I'm just saying, are they going to say this?
Snuck into Alicent's room and killed the heir. So I don't. Maybe they're going to say this to, like, I have another friend who made the same point where my friend Jolene in that Facebook group, the same idea. To try and cover up or make where Alicent was, a little less self-indulgent, but I still think, again, it's that undermining her role of motherhood in this. And I don't like it. I wanted her to be there because it's just as impactful on her as it is on Helena.
I didn't mind.
And it leaves Helena alone in this horror. And I don't like
it. It does. And I didn't like that. And actually, Fia Sabin, don't know how to say that. She was amazing. She internalizes
her eyes,
emotions,
the entire every minute of that whole scene. Them in the room with her when she's running away, her trying to comprehend it all, getting down the stairs, and I don't know. Some people have said maybe she has another vision at some point. Yeah. All of that is just phenomenal.
Yeah. I think she did an amazing job, and she showed so much emotion on her face. Yeah. And I won't hear anything bad said about her acting in that scene.
No. There's not. I have not bad things to say. I have criticism or ways I expected it to go. Like I said, my biggest issue was Alicent's absence, and the fact that she was absent because she was being self-indulgent. I feel like it undermines her motherhood and compared to her book character. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I don't. People have also tried to lay the blame at Cole's feet. Well, he wasn't at his post. We see him abandoning his post twice. He's the Lord Commander. He was Alicent's sworn shield before that. I don't think this is at Cole's door. It is obviously shocking that there were no other Kingsguard.
But like I said earlier, there was only there's a reduced Kingsguard.
Right. There's a reduced and they haven't thought to just the fact that it's Vhagar is patrolling the city. We're safe. Okay, but you didn't think to patrol your castle with more people? Kingsguard, whatever, bring in City Watch, hire more Kingsguard, do something. So that's insanity to me. And to me that's Otto being an idiot because he's not prioritizing the safety of the royal family within the kingdom. He's acting like they're untouchable when they're not. And obviously Aemond lost an eye a long time ago. Lucerys Valerion is dead. No one is untouchable here. And to me, this is the biggest moment of you guys have no idea how vulnerable you are. It's stupid to me that they're that naive about it. I do see Alicent feeling responsible for Jaehaerys' death. And I think her penance is going to be sending Cole away. And that's how he goes off into the Riverlands and do his other thing.
I think he will be off. He's off next episode, I think, away. Obviously one of the major changes is that Maelor is not there. Part of the book thing is that she has to choose between which of her children, and she chooses Maelor because he's the youngest.
I won't remember. However, with making Helena neurospicy, that doesn't make any sense. And she does choose. There is a moment where she points to the child that is to be killed. right?
Yeah, she has to make a choice. But I see why they kept Maelor out, because it's unambiguous now about the heir. It's like, this was his heir. You know.
Well, and there is no more heir at this point, right? Yeah.
Well, Aemond is an heir.
Aemond is an heir. Yeah. So I was going to share this.
Because they're not going to let Jaehaera be the heir, because they're literally fighting to not have a queen.
Totally undermine it.
Yeah.
So Z's made on the History of Westeros's Facebook page, he made a really good post. I just wanted to bring it up.
Oh yeah.
The lack of Maelor is interesting because it makes Aemond it makes Aemond Aegon's heir.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like the Greens could name Jaehaera, because obviously that undermines everything that's happening with Jaehaera. Condell hinted that Maelor might be coming later.
Ooh, okay.
Which would potentially be even more interesting, because that would mean Aemond becomes heir and then loses his status to a baby, similarly to Daemon.
Yes.
Which sort of aligns those characters even more. Yeah.
Mother of Baggins says the whole point of her madness is because she can't look upon the boy she named to die. If they make her have a baby after seeing that, I'm going to be heartbroken.
I know.
Yeah.
I think just Helaena in general, like, obviously we know she's a very tragic end, and I'm wondering, the dreamer aspect of her is such a cool addition, and I prefer it to the book. I wonder if she ends up jumping out the window because she sees a fate that awaits her otherwise.
Yeah, probably.
Or her children.
There's been a lot about the stuff she's drawn. I haven't paid that much attention to it because I just have time, but I will, about her drawings, because she's apparently made drawings on the walls and stuff of what she's seen. And
I saw one do one that was like a Robb Stark-esque thing. So like I said earlier, if the line that she says when Aegon walks in is like the Spanish translation of the only one to survive the fire, then maybe this season is starting to do her visions as further reaching than.
Well, apparently, again, in the Ryan Condell interview with History of Westeros, he does say people have noticed. Like, because they said, do people know? Is she just the Cassandra and no one listens to her?
Yeah.
And he's like, people are noticing that it's going to happen. People are going to notice. So I think that's going to be interesting.
Well, that's cool. That'll be a fun. Yeah.
The noises. Can I just say the noises were disgusting?
Oh God, yeah.
That was like, we didn't see it, which was good, but we heard it, and that was especially when I had my headphones on. I was like, oh, that's right in my ear. That's horrible. And then of course she has to do it, like her going, no, she just grabs her daughter, like, oh my God.
She knows she can't stop them, right? And again,
them.
Like, it's that those womanhood themes throughout this episode are really there in really subtle, really good ways. No one is going to grieve for Lucerys if Rhaenyra doesn't do it and show her other kids that it's okay. You know, Alicent's, speaking for her voice is super important. When she doesn't, she also goes out of her mind not to speak for Helena's. And Helaena grabbing her daughter and running because she knows she can't save her son is also so poignant as a mother. It's so
sad as well.
Yeah, it's exceptional, but sad.
And then she runs. I got really massive goosebumps when watching that, because again, Fia is just such a good actress. She's amazing. Here we go. Got a good note from Joe Magician. Hi, Joe. I think the most dangerous person to notice Helena's dreams is Larys, especially if she starts uncovering his plots and schemes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. She falls or she jumps out the window.
Yeah, right? And doesn't again one of these catch
fire.
Yeah. Doesn't, in one of the dreams that she has that she's drawn on the wall, I'm pretty sure one of them is a rat with a crown on. I'm sure that's there, and that maybe is that he the Rat King, because he's kind of ratty and in charge of that. Because isn't there an implication in Fire and Blood that it might have been him who set off Fire and Blood? Blood and Cheese. Oh my God, so much blood.
I don't remember now. I thought it was always just.
I think it was always Daemon, but I feel like there was a possibility if it was him. Yeah, Joe's like, he's the Rat King. Yeah. And then Mother of Baggins, they seem to have really softened Mysaria. Yeah. Do you think the brothel queen scene will come into play? I'm sorry to bring it up. I'm just wondering, because it was the White Worm's idea, allegedly.
I don't see it happening from Mysaria's perspective. I don't think Mysaria would put anybody. It's hard. There's a big difference in their class, right? Mysaria was born a lowborn, as it had to claw her way to get anything. So there is maybe a possibility that something in this is going to make her cold enough to make her say, this elitism needs to stop. I'm going to give you a taste of what it's like.
Well, I think she put, I think, you know, that boy we saw.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Game and Pale Hair.
I think she's going to be involved in that plot.
And I think she's going to put him on the throne and say he's the king.
I agree.
Joe's like, the hint is that Aemond goes to Harrenhal and has big problems with Larys as he doesn't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't trust Larys for good reason.
What?
He's a shady dude.
He's such a trustworthy dude.
I know. So trustworthy, that guy.
Yeah.
Larys. If Larys finds out, oh God, what if it is him who notices her? Like, that is dangerous because he's the last person, and he would feel like he would be the kind of person who would notice, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Because he notices stuff that other people.
But also because he himself is often ignored because of a disability or being different, so he would notice the different people around him too.
Jeez. Oh man. It's making me feel upset. Thanks, Joe. I'm now feeling like, oh shit.
Larys is babysitting Augie tomorrow. Is that a problem? Yes, I might ask Helena to do it instead. I don't know. Yeah, she might tell him a better story.
A mediocre shoe salesman, HR nightmare according to corporate. Yeah, basically.
No kidding. Yeah.
We're back to, so when Helena runs downstairs to, again, I was like, where's she running to? She's going downstairs. So Alicent's now in Rhaenyra's old bedroom. Why is she in a different bedroom? Why is she there? Why has she moved to Rhaenyra's old room?
Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I don't like it.
Has she done that for some reason?
I wonder if it's only just because of the secret passage.
Ooh, yes. Oh, okay, yeah. I think he's the Rat King in Helena's Nightmares. I can't wait for this video. Please bring it out now. Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, so Alicent is doing to Kristen Cole in Rhaenyra's bedroom what Rhaenyra once did to Kristen Cole. That's when she walks in and says they killed the boy. Again, Alicent is on top in this sexual situation.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
I, in my weirdness, was like, what would she do if she gets pregnant? Does she ask for
moon tea
every night?
Well, when he goes down on her, she doesn't have to. So she only need it once in this episode.
It was penetrative this time, Beth.
Yes, she only did it once in this episode.
Yeah. There was penis in this one.
Thank God.
So, is she gonna have to go to the Grand Maester and be like, I need moon tea? Like,
yeah, maybe.
Otherwise, what if Alicent ends up pregnant with Cole's baby?
I doubt it.
Let's fanfic that.
It
could happen. She's of childbearing age.
I like the fanfic that
she is fecund. What if they bring in Dayrun?
Yes, and his baby child. That'd be amazing.
Baby.
But that would make him way too young to do anything important.
Maybe she gets the moon tea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I like that.
Maybe.
There's all kinds of reasons she could ask for moon tea. She already there's a like Mother Baggins just pointed out. There's already a precedent for her asking for it.
There is. That's true.
Yes.
But a lot of people really didn't.
They're pretty loyal to the High Towers. They're not going to ask a lot of questions.
That's true. There's a lot of people who really did not like them having actual sex, though.
Yeah.
I
didn't like it. I hated it actually in this scene because, like I already said, it undermines her connection with Helena through this tragedy because she's off being frivolous and self-indulgent, and I hate that.
I don't know. I just didn't like it because I just think it's a better story that, as I said before, I won't bore you with it again, but I just think Cole worshipping her in this sexually frustrated
worshipping her
way of she's so pure and so beautiful and so amazing, but I also fancy her and I've got an erection and I hate myself. I just think that's more interesting to me as a story than that they're just doing it. But also whatever is telling me an interesting story, I'm just going to go with it and let them tell the story because that's the other thing is we don't know what's going to happen. Just enjoy yourself. We don't know what's going to happen. and getting, I don't want to get mad with everything I see until because it's not all just played out in this episode. I may not have liked everything, but I might see the consequences of certain things in a few episodes' time. I go, oh, that's why they did that.
Yeah. You asked about the moon tea, and I thought of Lancel and Cersei and that Tyrion thing. I spill my seed on her belly.
Oh yeah. Do you think Kristen Cole does that? How is he gonna aim it?
She just gets up. Come on, we've all done that. I'm coming. Okay, I'm moving. Just get up.
She just waits for him to start crying, and then she's like, "Oh, he must be nearly,
I must
move nearly there. I'm gonna have to go because he's about to come." So because he's already started crying. But that is
on his face first.
The last line is they killed the boy.
They killed the boy.
They killed the egg to let the man be born. Kill the boy and let the egg be born, or whatever it is.
I tweeted that. To let the man be born. And I think that's I do actually think there is supposed to be a bit of a point there. They killed the boy, and then you see Aegon is going to go ballistic now.
Oh yeah, we see that
even though he's not a consistent father, and you know where Jaehaerys was. I do think he liked his kid. I do think he liked Jaehaerys.
Yeah, and definitely. You can see that in that scene where Jaehaerys is messing around. He likes him. He thinks he's a cool little dude. And you see that in the trailer for the next episode, so we can get on to talking about what's coming next. Mm-hmm. The trailer, you see him losing his shit.
I should have watched the trailer more. I only watched it the one time after the episode the first time.
I've watched it twice, but he loses his shit.
Him losing his shit is two things. It's one, like, entitlement. We should have been untouchable. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they would do that to me. I'm the king. I'm this powerful person. And also, I liked that little dude. But I don't think his pain is anywhere near Helena's pain.
No. Oh, God, no. No, he won't understand
but I did think it was interesting when we roll all the way back now, thinking about that, to that first scene with him walking in and looking for Aegon. Or Jaehaerys. Aegon looking for Jaehaerys. And Helena says, I'm scared. And he's like, don't be scared. Like, he does try and comfort her. So I do kind of wonder how the dynamic's going to look in the next episode.
In the trailer, so if we get on to the next episode, in the trailer, we have a callback, literally a total and utter callback to what Cregan Stark said at the start of the first of this episode. Duty is sacrifice. It eclipses all things, even blood.
Yep.
Why have they brought... It's going to be really interesting that this is clearly a theme then. Is this like a theme for the season of, like, duty is sacrifice, it eclipses all things, even blood, duty?
Because they all think the throne is their duty, but it's duty.
I don't think they think it's their duty. I think they think it's their right.
Well, and I think I said this somewhere on Twitter, but it reminds me of Stannis and that sort of Davos conversation, or where Davos makes them realize that he's putting the cart before the horse. You need to win. Your intention has to be pure here. Like, you can't just want it. You have to want it for the right reasons.
Well, I think there is some point we've seen in a trailer for the season, Rhaenyra pointing out that her being the king or queen of this it's not just a right, it is a duty to keep the realm together.
She knows the prophecy.
Yeah.
So to her, it is her duty. That's my point. Like, she sees this as, like, no one knows this but me, and maybe she does share it because she's worried. But
I think because
Aegon doesn't know this.
Baby Billy's like, Stannis.
Yes.
It cracks me up that, speaking of Stannis, it always cracks me up that people think that Stannis is Azor Ahai reborn, or the prince that was promised.
Well, he's not. But
when he's like, no, it's Rhaenyra, babes, or it's like. It just cracks me up that we have Aegon's prophecy now, and we're like, nah, it's not Stannis.
No, it's not Stannis.
This is not what Aegon dreamed about.
Again, like, it's meant to be the red herring, or not even red herring.
I know, but it just makes me laugh.
But I do think Stannis has the right objective a lot of the time. Like, once he actually gets put in check, he's like, shit, there is shit happening. People need my help.
Well, he says,
I need to win the kingdom to win the throne.
I wanted to win the throne so I could help the kingdom, but I needed to help the kingdom to win the throne. Yeah, exactly. And that's what Rhaenyra is like. I need to help the people.
Yeah, I have an objective here.
It's Samuel Tully.
Okay. We were friends for a second when you said Stannis, but no, we're not. No, I'm just kidding.
Samwell Tarly is Azor Ahai, definitely. But so to next week. So we've got Aegon isn't happy, obviously. His son is dead. He wants to go to war. We see a bit where Daemon and Rhaenyra are having crosswords.
Rhaenyra's mad.
You have undermined me. Yeah, you have undermined my claim with Blood and Cheese. She is pissed.
We're assuming it's Blood and Cheese. I don't understand how Blood and Cheese actually undermines her claim.
I think because it just makes her look like a murderous, evil witch.
Sure, but she looks like that for killing off Laenor.
True.
And they were fine with it then. So what's the difference now?
Because it's a child? Because it's a child. It's different. It's not.
So is Luke. I don't know. Like, I just don't think it undermines her any more than Aemond killing Lucerys did. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Then we obviously get the funeral.
Yeah. The veils. God, they look stunning. I love someone shared the Fleabag at her mother's funeral when she's like, she looks too beautiful for the funeral, and then everyone shared that with some of the stills of Helena and Allison to the funeral. Yeah. If you know what I'm talking about,
I love that show.
Get it? It's the best. Yeah,
it's so good.
Watch the series before our next episode drops.
But the funeral looks like, so we're gonna get some small folk stuff. There's been some shots from other bits about maybe the funeral gets a bit bread righty, like in is it a Clash of Kings that the bread right happens, isn't it?
Yeah,
looks like that might happen. We do get some shots of some unhappy small folk, so the small folk are back. We get some shots of Lannisters on horses fighting. We see Caraxes, and then Kristen Cole is beheading someone. And we've seen that shot before. I have no idea who it is. I can't think who Kristen gets a haircut and he beheads someone.
I think he catches Blood and Cheese and beheads them.
Oh, do you think it's them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's just the obvious choice. It's not like they were like quiet about who they were, or it's not like no one saw them.
Okay.
Elena saw their faces.
I didn't think it looked like Blood and Cheese. But I wonder, because he gets a haircut. So I'm wondering if Allison's like, we can't do this ever again. I'm ashamed. I'm going to send you away. And he does that thing, like that trope when
the breakup haircut.
The breakup, but when they do it themselves, like the crazy girl is sad.
Yeah, so she cuts her own bangs.
So she cuts her own hair in the mirror, going with just a pair of kitchen scissors or a knife, and just like, and then has crazy person hair. Mm-hmm. But it always looks kind of good because it's a movie and it's not real. I cut my own hair many times in the pandemic and it looked like shit.
Don't cut your own hair. I work in the beauty industry. Don't do it. I don't.
But it was pandemic, lockdown. There was nowhere to cut my hair. I had to cut
I know. I had trouble too, but I didn't. I still could do it. I worked in a spa and I still didn't cut my own hair. And I couldn't get them to cut my hair.
Do you have any predicciones or any things that you think might come up? That obviously they're not going to tell us everything in the trailer that's coming up. So
just in the next episode in general, I think that just the pacing, I'm hoping, moves a little bit smoother than this one, a little bit chunkier, a little bit less chunky, because this was chunky pacing. I didn't like it. I just think it's going to be rage from Aegon. I think there's going to be a lot more action. Boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom.
I read an article from the Guardian newspaper, and they've seen the first 4 episodes, because I think that's what the press got.
Mm-hmm.
And they did say it like really ramps up. And because like the first episode, a lot of people, if you're watching it, you might be like, they're just talking in rooms. It's all political. I don't really mind that. I quite like all of that.
No, I like it too.
But it it's going to ramp up quickly. And by the end of episode 4, you were just like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? So it is going to get very exciting and tense. The thing that happens after Blood and Cheese that is almost a direct result of it is when Arik gets sent to Dragonstone in vengeance.
Right, in disguise as Eric.
Disguised as Eric, but runs into, and they have that back fight. So I'm wondering, are they going to do that? Is that going to be next episode? Because that is.
I don't want it to be. I
don't want it because I love
Eric.
them. I don't love Arik. Eric's a poo.
No, but I do. I don't love Eric because I'm not Team Green.
Yeah,
but I do love the idea of the two of them on opposing sides. So I don't want them to cut that short so fast. It's like I just because I know I probably sound a little bit like a book stickler through some of the scenes in this, and I really there are parts where I think there's big opportunity for the show to capitalize on, to have more of what happened in that chase episode. The only good stuff in that chase episode was the two of them talking about the dynamics of the throne and what to do. I really hope they continue that. I hope actually that they die at the end of the season.
They won't. They'll be dead way before that.
I hope it's later.
Because this is a direct, the Eric fight is direct.
It is, but it doesn't mean it has to be for this. It doesn't mean that they can push it more. We'll see.
In the timeline, though, because they're just like, okay, they've killed our sons, we're going to go and get theirs. And that is literally what happens next.
I know.
So,
yeah.
I feel like if they delayed it, they'd have to find another reason for Eric to go over there. And
well, or Eric is just doing something else and then they come up with that plan later. I think maybe they plot the Riverlands and they save the Eric. That's my prediction is they plot other things and they save the Eric thing.
I don't know. I wonder if it's next. We'll have to find out.
We'll find out. There's our predictions. It's a big one where Steph and I are opposing. She thinks it's next. I think.
Well, I don't know, but it is next in the story.
It is next in the story.
Directly because of Blood and Cheese that Eric is sent.
I'm just hoping that they.
I would love it if they delayed, because I really love Eric and I don't want him to die yet. Hang on, what does Mother of Dragons say? We book nerds are the best at judging. Well, in the books. Yes.
You should have seen me like long before I was a fan of this series. I was in the theater for the Da Vinci Code and I was like, oh. The book, that's not what happens.
In the book, but it's a terrible book though. So it
was fine at the time. Like when I was like early 20s reading that story, it was a good little catch. It's a nice little treasure hunting book. It's fine.
Yes, I'm sure. This is when you told me like this. He says in it, like in that book, that there's a part of England where Earl Grey tea is only served with lemon, and that is a falsehood. That is a falsehood.
Yes. Let's say, the one character says
outrageous.
Like, that would be you only serve it with lemon or something.
No, it's not true. There's no part of England that anyone would serve tea with lemon. It just would never happen.
Just Earl Grey, not
Earl Grey. Never. You would never have.
I would never have Earl Grey with lemon. That sounds disgusting.
No, it's just the idea. The idea that any English person would ever have any tea with lemon in it is ridiculous to me. But anyway,
we're all dying of scurvy, obviously.
We are. We have terrible teeth, and we're all dying of scurvy. But
in Canada, guys, just as like it wouldn't be a Kiss by Fire episode if you didn't do a random tangent about bullshit stuff. But if you ever want to look up a really fun drink involving Earl Grey tea, look up a London Fog if you haven't heard of it. It's yummy, and try and make it or order it somewhere.
It's got nothing to do with London though.
In America,
London
they dumped it all
they'd be like,
the ocean. You can't get it anymore. So maybe that's
If you went to London and asked for a London Fog, they'd just give you a pile of shit. Whether they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. So look up a London Fog and then ask them to make it. Just give them the recipe and they could make it at any cafe. But
you know that it wouldn't be allowed by law because it's messing with tea. You can't.
When I said that just now, I was talking to the Americans.
Okay.
Like we said, they dumped all their tea in the ocean, so that doesn't matter either.
They did mess with tea. They threw it in the ocean, so they're happy to mess with tea. Whereas
come to Canada and order a London Fog, and I promise you, if you like tea, you'll love it. It's a Earl Grey tea topped with a few pumps of vanilla and steamed milk, and it's delicious.
Wrong. Lemon in the tea whispers, and I microwave my water first. No! Oh my god.
I like hot water with honey and lemon. Does that? But I don't put.
That's fine. That's fine. That's not tea. That's honey and lemon and tea. Anyway, we're talking about tea.
Sorry, this is a live stream and everything.
We can't cut this.
Welcome.
Welcome to Kiss by Fire. The tea.
Blood and cheese and hot tea.
Blood and cheese and hot tea. Oh, that sounds like a horrible dinner. I'd much rather gorge and rest after.
Sounds like me when I'm PMSing.
Jesus Christ. I got nothing else to add for any predictions or analysis. Do you?
No, I needed to watch that trailer a bit more, but the week got away from me.
I think we did pretty well at sticking to 1 hour.
Yeah, sure, we did great.
Yeah, one whole hour.
2.5 hours. Yeah.
It's fine. It's totally fine. But if you did like this, do like the video, subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. And we're spilling the hot tea.
Spilling the hot tea.
On Hot D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited. I can't wait till tomorrow's episode.
It'll be fun.
I just think it's going to get more and more exciting. And I want to know who Kristen's. The main mystery from the trailer for me was whose head was Kristen moving. So I want to know who that was.
My vote is blood and cheese.
Whose head?
We will see.
Whose head? And will Eric and Arik fight to the death?
I don't think it'll be this soon. I hope not. I don't want it to be.
I hope not, but it is canonically.
Yes. Oh yeah. I agree. I just don't want it to be.
No. We don't want any of our favorite people to die.
Yeah, I love
the point.
I love
them. But if you want your favorites not to die, don't read Song of Ice and Fire books, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
I'm okay with them dying. I just want more time with them.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Okay.
But if we had our way, Ned Stark wouldn't have died either.
True that.
It was lovely to do this. I think everyone should just go and enjoy their Saturdays. I'm going to go to bed because it's 12:30 midnight here. I'm going to go and sleep.
I'm going to have some.
I've got a gym class in the morning, and then I'm doing a charity walk around a park in Edinburgh. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was Edinburgh Pride today as well. That was fun. So
very nice.
So yeah, we're going to sign off here, and we will see you guys next week. Though, tune in again, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. British summertime. Graham has written Fun Pride Unicorn Rainbow Mane. Is that code? Are you writing code? It didn't come out as a picture. that looks like behind the scenes code. That didn't come out as a picture. You need to put like .jpeg or something. But yeah, this was really fun, and I really enjoyed this, and we will see you nächste Woche, as they say in Germany, next week. And yeah, like and subscribe, and come and join us for some fun.
And thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.